Live.
Welcome to episode 193 of
92
of the Crippled system
podcast.
There was a 192nd episode, but it's not numbered 192. So even though 2 episodes ago was 191, we're still doing 192.
It's like a bonus episode.
Mm-hmm. 191 is the last palindrome prime for a long time.
Yeah, but we haven't. Basically, we recorded a crazy episode at the ATC where we swapped in like 12, 15 people. So that's going to be a cluster. I haven't actually edited it yet. I have to match it up with video and actually put it up on the YouTubes.
I think during that podcast, I ended up winning the Who Falls Asleep First in the room.
Oh,
congratulations!
It was pretty rough for some people. We had 2 lumberjacks in the room, and I was out. I think I slept for 10 hours. I was sick as shit.
Mm-hmm. That's probably the best thing is if you're having somebody snoring in the room to be falling asleep first.
Well, we were in the same. The thing that sucked is that the hotel ended up reserving. When I reserved rooms, they reserved the ones that were being renovated. So when I got there, I was supposed to still be staying in those rooms. So they had to get me into rooms that we could actually stay in. Mm-hmm. And we had 6 people in one room, and it was supposed to be like king bed and a pull-out couch, which would have been fine for us. But then they put 6 people into a room with just a king-size bed. Mm-hmm. So we had to make this makeshift bed out of chairs and an ottoman. And then the 2 of us, the 2 lumberjacks, ended up sleeping in the bed together. So it was we were just projecting our snores everywhere. I think Ethan was quite upset about not being able to get a good amount of sleep, but I was fine. Whatever.
That's why I bring earplugs to whatever event I go to. If I'm sharing the room with somebody else, I bring earplugs, and I bring spare earplugs for my roommates.
Yeah, there's like a kit for falling asleep in rooms, it seems, or just staying at a convention anyways. Mine was airborne, but the fucking day before I left, one of my coworkers was sick around me, so I'm sure I picked up their disease.
Oh.
And that was fun.
We should probably introduce ourselves.
Yeah, maybe.
I was going to reset I couldn't log into Twitch, and I couldn't remember my password, so I sent a thing to reset my password, and it's like, do you want to use this password reset for Crippled System or Radiofan? And it wasn't responding, so I decided not to do it right now. Because I don't want to reset our Twitch password right now by mistake. That might ruin everything. That's the end of my anecdote.
I'm Brian.
I'm Steven.
I'm Nathan.
I'm Max.
I am Andy, and I play Mercs.
I'm transitioning into Circle now too. So
what?
Oh.
Yeah, it's the only faction I haven't owned. So
are you giving up Legion?
You're almost exactly like one of the other Brians that we know. If he doesn't play Warmachine, he used to a long time ago in Mark 1. But do you know Brian Brimmer?
No.
Okay.
Well, Brimmer? Yeah, Brimmer's a good guy.
Brimmer, awesome guy. He had more faction ADD than anybody in the world, and he would always make really insanely good deals on Bartertown.
That's what happened.
So he'd be like, okay, I got this army. I don't want to play this army. I'm going to full trade this army for another army and get some extra models too.
I happen to own 5 Dougal McNally's right now because of just random trades. Because I pick up armies at a time. I've got more rock bottoms than... I think I have 3 units in this right now. It's ridiculous.
I have 2 units in this.
Yeah, I heard that story.
Yeah.
I've got, and this is not from trading at all, just from purchases. I have, I think, 5 versions of Saxon Auric.
That is a large amount of Saxons.
Yeah, because like when I had him with Cricks, so he was just packed in with my Cricks foam, and I had him with Mercs, and I had him with whatever random faction.
You're just too lazy to dig them out, so you put them in every one of your foams?
Yeah, exactly. I got basically when I got to the game store, I was like, okay, I'm packing my list. I'm like, oh, I need a Saxon Auric. Son of a bitch, he's in my Cricks. So then I had to go, just went and bought a new one.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't preemptive. You didn't just go like, well, I'm switching to Cricks and Saxons in my Merc foam, but fuck that.
Nope, it was really more of I need a Saxon Auric now.
Fair.
So I might as well just go buy one.
I mean, really, you're now only 1 off a min unit of Saxon Auric, so you might as well get another one.
That'd be a heck of a unit.
Yeah,
it would be.
I'll get a Seth Elcott.
It'd probably be a 6-man unit only.
Yeah, that's not a min. It's a character unit. It's 6-man only, flat cost.
True.
So we have announcements.
Okay.
We do. There's a tournament coming up
Madison
here.
tournament. Yeah, that's
Madison tournament.
people didn't seem to know about.
Yeah, I kind of fell off the earth of promoting it, and then there's something that happened last Tuesday, and then
I've been trying to whore it out as much as I can because I just like to try and make sure all the metas are well informed about what's going on, even if it's not in our area.
I appreciate it.
I work.
Yeah, you work for it. I didn't ask you beforehand, so
That's
that
all
was
right.
my mistake. You could see you at
Squeezing
5.
it in between the ATC and the Adepticon, I was never going to be able to attend it. Unfortunately.
It's a toughie.
And I did it because Brian wanted to get into the tournament as well. Geezy.
Yeah.
He was like, you should make an event, and so I made an event, and well, Brian's not there.
But hey, you made an event for him, and that was nice of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good. It's the thought that counts. No, I'm excited for it. It's been a while since I've played in Madison. I think. No, the last fuck it. That was Champions. The Champions event was last. So
Yeah, that was a little weird though too, because it just felt. I like Champions, but it really felt like it minimized a lot of things that you could take.
well,
that's
the point.
max.
Yeah.
I like the limited format, but it was definitely the Magnus Osram Jerkapalooza. I think I was one round away from playing against that pairing all day, and I had that pairing.
Yeah, you were awesome mirror matched like 3 of the 4 rounds, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Osram and McBain, I think was my matchup that I had.
Yeah, there was. Oh yeah, because George had McBain.
No, I had McBain too.
Oh.
I think it was.
Yeah, I know
Or
George had
Excellent.
McBain.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you had Thexus because we didn't play. Never mind.
No, it can't because Texas is not.
You were the
in
one I skipped.
Champions.
No, Siphon is. It's Osram, Magnus, Siphon, and McBain.
Yeah, so it must have been McBain.
That you didn't play each other with.
No, we didn't play each other.
Okay,
No.
that's a cool story. Hope the book rights are available.
Yep.
What didn't you not play against Kerr because it wasn't allowed in Champions? Maybe
What, didn't I play against him?
that's apparently what we're discussing. Is
Yeah,
things we
that's the
didn't
story.
play
I
against
mean,
Kerr
I've
because
been-
they're not allowed
Max
in
actually
Champions.
did play against me.
Yeah,
He dropped
I did.
Kozlov against
Yeah.
me.
Well, that ruins everything.
And then I got my lucky last minute Ulan charge and
Yeah, fuck that
triple
Ulan.
sixed his caster into the ground.
He's like, I'll just take this with random attack on Osram. Sure.
Yeah.
So this tournament is like 2 months old.
Yep.
We're talking about.
I don't remember being in that one, but
So March 18th, Warmachine Steamroller.
Yeah.
And then March 23rd through 20-something.
It's Adepticon.
Adepticon?
Yep.
Will we all be? No, you won't be there because painting's for suckers.
yeah.
I also have a bunch of unpainted models, but I am going, and that's a terrible, terrible thing.
I'm going to be
I
probably
need to paint a
stopping
unit
for
of
one
commandos.
day. I'll come down for a day.
I'm going to be engaging in the Hungerford Games, which basically involves having 10 hours to paint an entire army, and anything you don't paint doesn't get to be used in the tournament the next day. So, and I'm choosing
Make
yellow.
sure you paint your caster.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I'm choosing yellow as the color for my army, so...
Are you allowed to
Basically.
use an airbrush?
Yeah, whatever.
So you can bring.
Wheel that compressor right in there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my
mine's-
convergence army, I just spray painted them all gold and then just dipped them. So like that, I could do literally field allowance of everything convergence in 10
Yeah.
hours.
And Hungerford's allowing you to do color primer as well. So
Well, that's what. Yeah,
exactly.
that's what it was. It's just gold primer and then highlights and dip.
So you bring them all already gold and just go for it.
Oh, you can have them pre-primered.
Yes.
Oh, fucking A then. Yeah. See, Steve.
I'm still too slow at it.
You'd be surprised how quick you can dip stuff.
Yeah. Well, I need to do a unit of commandos and 2 effort scouts. Jesus, fuck! I have so much I have to paint for Adepticon.
Those effort
Welcome
scouts
to the club.
are surprisingly busy.
Yeah, they got all those sacks and sticks and doodads and stuff on them.
Yep.
Oh my god, I'm an idiot because I'm in the team event. I'm running one faction and then I'm doing masters with a different faction, which is just stupid.
Yeah, I'm mostly for me. I'm going there to. I might pick up some Iron Arena games, but mostly going there to like check out the shopping area. It's been the one place that I've wanted that I should be going because mini wargaming is my primary hobby, but I just haven't gone to Adepticon yet, even though it's like the wargaming convention.
If you play in the Iron Arena, do you still, or Iron Gauntlet, what have you, if they have it there, do you have to be painted in that too?
I had heard that it was a little looser.
Yeah.
but it
So
depends on who's looking
It
at
is
your shit.
Adepticon's rules that you must always play with painted models.
Mm-hmm.
It is not Privateer's rules, it's Adepticon's rules. Now, the Privateer press staff doesn't wander over and look at the Iron Arena area as frequently as they do their tournaments, so you get a bit of a blind eye, but by rules, like if an Adepticon person comes in and they say, you're not painted, you can't be playing.
Adepticon like painting standards are also super like it feels like it's more of like the old like 3 colors and you're good. Not like spray paint my Necron silver and then put a green dot and a blue dot on his forehead and then we're done. But like you can get by with some really stupid shit.
Yes.
Yeah, it's they just want to have things all colored on the table. They don't really
Yeah.
want to see
They don't have to be beige.
computer or gray
I
plastic.
thought they had to be
No,
based.
no,
Oh,
no,
Okay.
no.
That's like an Iron Arena, not in Iron
we go.
Gauntlet.
Yeah,
you would
yeah,
have to
yeah.
have basing done. But like, then you can get into like philosophical arguments with people about like, okay, well, I have this thing that I primed brown and washed it with Devlin mud, so technically there's many colors in the transition from the wash to the base to the top color. So you could sit there and do that if somebody wanted to come up to you and prick about it.
No.
Primer is not paint.
Primer ain't paint, Josh.
Oh, that's a 4-year-old argument.
Yeah, that's okay.
At least for my list, my pain givers are painted. So
See,
I've
you
got
got
I've got my important support unit for scoring.
Yeah, that's
painted.
like, a tenth of your
They're
one
still
list.
not. They're
so
still not based though. They're
probably
the
both.
first
They don't
unit
have to
I
be based.
painted, and they're not based.
Just don't do
which
the Iron Gauntlet. You're
I
fine.
keep looking at that, and someday.
Or champs.
I think
Or
I
champs.
think Iron Gauntlet you can get away. They have to be based in iron.
Yeah,
Iron
because
Gauntlet
there's
even
people-
exist anymore?
Yeah.
You always hear the stories of the hotel room
Does Iron
basing
Gauntlet
with
still
coffee
exist?
grinds and stuff
Until
until
June.
2017,
Yeah,
right?
until
okay.
June. Yeah.
It is, yeah, okay.
The Privateer Press
Yeah,
has
yeah,
an idea of what 2017 is.
Maybe I'll just see. I've been practicing Convergence, but now that Blindwater's coming out, maybe I'll just only bring minions down there.
How long ago? How long until Blindwater book is out then?
Blindwater comes out Wednesday. Adepticon is Thursday.
Oh wow! So that's this Wednesday that the
The next one. Yeah, I heard that it launches like that Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh okay.
Wait, so they're getting a command book?
No, it's in the next no quarter. I was told that the no quarter is coming out the week of Adepticon.
Okay.
So
it's either
I can play completely unpracticed Jaga Jaga lists and have no idea what I'm doing, or I can bring my undefeated Iron Mother list, but that seems like a lot of work. And plus, then I might lose with it.
yeah. I don't.
And I've got like 8-9 games with it, and it's undefeated. It feels good.
At least with
I don't want to
JJ.
lose.
Yeah, at least with JJ you can like lose and chalk it up to not having played the list.
Yeah. The nice thing about JJ is that no, I'm not going to say that. The nice thing about Jaga Jaga is that if that Crix theme force, it looks like it's getting really popular.
Yeah.
And she just shithouses it, so that's really nice.
Yeah, that Crix theme force is like, it seems like if you're going against a Crix pairing, you will 100% see that in their set.
Yeah.
It's really good for what it is. I mean, it almost makes you want to play the faction
But
just for that list.
It does not want to face an army where every single model has magical RFP.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's not good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's harsh.
It's not good for any recursion list out there. So I mean, even the Grymkin, that would be annoying for them too.
And what is great is if you can snipe out the quartermaster of the unit, they lose the deadbound ability.
I thought that changed with Mark III to where the unit has that rule and not just
I think
the leader.
like literally like a week
You
ago,
lose-
we were talking about
I believe
this.
you lose whatever was dead that turn, but he gets re-promoted.
That's Mark 1.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I don't think he gets
I think
promoted.
it's on leader and grunts.
Or whatever. We don't have to look it up.
Yeah.
But somebody was talking about that.
I know if you
either
are
way,
the leader, then you have to nominate a new leader that isn't the leader, but he's just a douche.
he's a
with
commander.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. With the way field promoting works, if you RFP the leader model, you do not field promote. You just denote a commander who works as the leader for orders and coherency, but he's not the actual leader model. And I think that's what it is. And I apparently haven't opened War Room on this phone yet, and so this is not going to work.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Update.
really open up War Room as well.
At any rate, Ghost Fleet is crazy.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things that happened within the last week. The release of the CID for the Grymkin.
Yep.
Should probably talk about that. Has anybody play tested or messed around with any of the rules?
I have not, but I've looked at maybe a couple of lists or two. I think the King of Nothing was one of the lists I looked at, but haven't got around to printing out any of the cards or getting any proxies set up.
You should wait until maybe Monday when my cards are approved, and you can see something that's amazing, because my cards look amazing. My version of them.
I do that.
I'm probably in the minority of Warmachine players that I don't rightly care to test the faction. Even I'm a primarily a Khador player, and I have no desire to put Old Witch 2 on the table because I don't want to play her until she's finalized. I don't have a sick relationship with like the design portion of the game. I really just want the final version in my hands to mess with. So it's, if somebody wants to mess with it or play it against me, I'm fine with that, but I really just have no desire to become a tester.
Right, so it's under leader and grunts, but read the last sentence. Place the return models completely within 3 inches of the leader. So if there isn't a leader model, you can't be within 3 inches of the leader.
You would still have a leader model, though.
No, because you don't field promote if you RFP the leader.
Oh,
you denote a grunt
RFP,
to be the commander.
Correct.
So if you RFP the leader, the grunts have the deathbound ability, but it's irrelevant because the ability requires placing by the leader, who is not on the table anymore.
But you still need RFP anyway in order to do that.
If you just,
If you just, but the point is, you don't have to RFP. Like, you know, RFP and grunts, they don't come back. But if you just RFP just the leader, it shuts down the ability.
Yeah.
So if you just kill the leader in a sense, then one of the grunts will be promoted to a leader.
If you kill a leader, he'll be promoted to leader.
Just destroy, not RFP.
Right. If you RFP, you don't replace the model. You don't do field promote. You just declare somebody commander. Kind of like with character units, almost. You know, like how if Boomhowler dies, you don't field promote somebody to Boomhowler. You just put a token next to one of his asshats.
Sure.
That's how it works. If you RFP the leader, you just put a token next to one of the grunts.
One of his assets.
Like the Cephalix Drudges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh God. Interesting. That's the only thing that sucks about that list.
At least it's not Mark 1 where there was no such thing as field promoting, and once the leader died, the unit couldn't give or receive orders anymore, and so they couldn't charge or run, and it was...
You could charge.
If you had a solo with the commander ability, do it once per turn... Well, Warcasters were a solo with the commander ability. They could give one order to one unit per turn, and if they charge and they hit rough terrain, their charge failed immediately, and... disabled warjacks. And
glad I started playing in the last year of Mark II.
The game was terrible. I don't know why any of us played it. It was actually fun. It's just like there were so many little janky things that I do not miss.
Yeah, and the whole leader thing now in Mark III, the removing from play thing, I know it came up early in Mark III when people were talking about the stone and what would happen if you RFP the stone. And I still feel like that it doesn't feel like it's it's functional in the game. It just seems like it's funky and needs to be reworded or something. Just
right, because
whenever I think of when things are removed from play, I really think of like a small black hole opening and
and takes your Creel Stone with it, and then you're just like, well,
just shuts.
I guess we're gonna scribe some shit.
Yeah. And that makes sense with stuff that's unique, like the characters, or even the Creel Stone. Like if you needed to nerf the Creel Stone, which you don't, I'm not saying you do, but hypothetically, like you could make that a character, you know, so that you do not get the field promote, but he still has the sack or whatever. Because again, that's a special, unique model. It's kind of weird to field promote, like if the guy's a foot away and the stone dies and then this other guy just magically has the stone over there, it doesn't really make sense. Then it's kind of like with brigands. If you kill one of the brigands, another guy's stick grows.
Yeah. It's like it's a portal. So it's like suddenly an orange portal opens up, the stone goes into it, and it comes out a blue portal that's next to one of the other Creel Stone bearers.
No, that's how the Wanderer works in Grymkin.
Oh. The only character I've really paid attention to in there is the spider.
Oh man, Portal.
Lord Longfellow.
Lord Longfellow is so cool. I really want to play the faction just to play him.
No, the Wanderer plays with portals because every turn in your maintenance phase, you put out 3 small bases.
Oh, yeah, he's got like a little
and then he can teleport them to the next turn. You can touch them and they go away, but then he can fuck you if you do that. So it's a choice to be made.
Yep.
Man, the nastiest arcana, because I saw this and then I was reading somebody's battle report and they got bit by it, is if one of your models dies, you fully heal all your models. So that one's good, you know, because people then, you know, the fact that it works on your own turn is the key thing, because the person who was complaining, they attacked something, and they attacked one of the skin and moans, and they got him down to like 6 or 7 hit points, and they just couldn't finish him off, and then the next turn the guy's just giving up free strikes left and right. He's just charging past his shit. He's like, take a free strike if you want to. You'll heal my beasts. So I made his whole army immune to free strikes, because if the guy kills anything, he just gets to heal his beast back up and then just murder the shit out of him.
Nice.
It's hilarious.
Oh, Arcana.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that's going to work and who's the boss. What I'm thinking we'll end up doing is everyone has got that Trump Arcana that goes with them.
Yeah.
And then they get 2 other Arcana. I'm thinking what we'll end up doing is we'll have the set of cards for that, and then we'll just give 2 random Arcana.
Yeah, obviously, in the spirit of the randomness, you would
Yeah.
give them 2 random Arcana.
They could select 2 at random.
Yeah.
Like the whole shuffle deck, pick 2 cards.
Yeah. So here's my cards I made.
They look good.
Not bad.
The only issue is that it looks very, very like Privateer made it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lawsuit waiting to happen. But apart from that, they're great. It's like, hey, this money I made looks really realistic. Well, sure, buddy.
I'm just going to, just for a joke, take out and try and spend it, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, the one thing that we could do with them too is I could throw a gigantic CID watermark on it as well.
Yeah, and just like a big thing that says, not official and
Each
blah, blah,
one
blah.
does say CID use only on the card.
Well, and you also would just have to say not affiliated with Privateer Press, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
There was an MTV show. I don't know how long it lasted, but it was like each episode centered on a senior prank. They go to some high school and talk to one kid there and talk about the senior prank. One of the episodes was literally a kid who thought it would be funny to print fake money and use it at the cafeteria. And the episode sure does involve the Secret Service coming to his high school and arresting him.
I don't think these are money though.
I've seen I saw 2 episodes of it randomly, and I'm watching that one. I'm just like, dude, no.
That show always showcased a ton of stupidity.
Stick with the classics. The Pigs numbered 1, 2, 4. That's a fucking classic. Not counterfeiting money.
Couple of things I did notice in the CID. So I don't know how they're going to print out some of the cards because I try to stick close to this font size of everything that they used. Old Witch has got way too many rules on her to fit on one card.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be almost near impossible to read, but her Black Wings ability that's on her, which is her guns, just has it.
Text wall.
It makes sense what it is, and it makes sense the reason why they have it all in there because they have to explain because everything that's underneath the AOE gets hit with blind. And if anything ever walks into the AOE because it stays in play, it takes a magical damage roll.
Yep.
So they have to explain it not affecting the Old Witch, and they also have to explain what blind is. As well. So it's just a huge text wall for shenanigans. And then all of her arcane abilities for her Jack or for her and the battle engine are big, huge text walls as well.
And having the old school thing and There's a lot of text there.
Yep.
I mean, Bethane and Belphegor's text wall fit, right? The Feralgeist's text wall fit.
I guess Loki is also a huge text wall in the back of his card.
It's amazing how small you can get font to be and have it still be legible.
Mine's a little bit more difficult because I'm working off of different images and that, so I can't really go much smaller without it becoming just really difficult to read. Because also it's the printer size I'm using too. So
yeah, they'll include a magnifying glass with the Old Witch.
Or she'll just be on those giant oversized Planeswalker cards.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Those would be kind of cool. The only reason why I made these cards as well, and I don't know if I'm the only one or if I'm just weird, I have a hard time reading just the plain text PDF and getting what they intend that model to do. I mean, it's easier for me to read a symbol of Pathfinder than it is to really... There's a couple of them that even when I was making the cards, when I was going through the PDF, that I forgot the Pathfinder symbol. I forgot the stealth on something. And I'm like, I just didn't catch it reading it.
Yeah, I've seen people or watched videos of people trying the faction out, and I can only stomach the first few minutes because they're shuffling papers back and forth. And Warmachine's already a really busy game on your back 6 inches of the table, and then you're slapping down 8x12s, and it's just really hard to keep track of what's going on, and it's just frustrating. It's annoying to watch.
Yeah, I have seen people take the effort to crop onto one 8.5 by 11 sheet. They have like just the cards they need. So it's still just one sheet of paper as opposed to like 12 sheets of paper for 12 different models, and that's worlds better. That's kind of like when people put all their cards in one of those sheet protector sleeves.
I guess is there any, probably no one here knows, but reason why they wouldn't have just put them on like little cards like they did for all the new releases of errata fixes?
Because it changes so much during playtesting, and I assume we're going to see several different versions of these.
Right, but I guess the point is if they did something that looked like that, they can still change it every week, right? They just have a nicer looking template. The only thing I can guess is to reduce the possibility of something like that being used 6 months from now with the wrong info.
That's
right,
fair.
these are clearly wrong.
Or it depends on who sets up the cards, too. I mean, it's a lot of, like, you need to know what's going on behind the curtain type thing, because the person who types up the rules and changes the rules throughout the development process might be a very different person who sets up those cards. You're paying two people to do the same thing.
Yeah, right. And these cards, to be honest with you, now that I've built them, I can easily make changes on them. It took me a long time to build that template, and then now that they're all in a document, I can go through and make changes on them. But it took a long time to do that, and I can see that it might take even longer. I mean,
they just don't care, right? Like these are just test rules. They don't have to look pretty.
Yeah.
And I guess their logic. No reason for the effort.
I mean, supposedly, from my understanding, with the Grymkin release, it is going to be the point when all cards are digital. At that point,
yeah, there's not going to be physical, I don't think.
So I think that's where they cut off, like all normal cards, like Signar is going to be an online PDF as Grymkin are released.
Which also makes sense with the Arcana card, because originally, so for the first couple days, maybe only even one day, because it was so abhorrent that they changed it right away, all of the Arcana card had a caster's name on them. So 3 of them said child. Even though only one of them was her trump, 2 of the other ones still said child on them. Pointlessly and irrelevantly, and it was confusing to people because they're like, so wait, why did they say child? Can she use those? Can the other ones use those? Or do they not? And so now the 5 trumps have their name and the other 10 don't have any name on them at all.
Okay.
And the reason they originally were labeled is because the Grymkin have been in playtest prior to the decision to go to digital cards only. So originally each of them came with 3 of the cards. So if you wanted access to all 15 Arcana, you had to buy all 5 casters.
Oh, okay.
Well, because there's really no other way to get them out there, right?
Sure.
It's either that or, go to digital cards, which is what they did. So now you'll just be able to download all 15 of them.
Actually brings up an interesting question for War Room and Arcana and how they're going to handle that.
It'd be like Steam War objectives. You would basically have like a section that you would just choose, I'm going to take this. And I think the Arcana works, you can actually change it before every match.
Yep.
So you
It's
don't
game
have
by
to
game.
have... You still have to have your trump card, but you get to choose your other ones based on whatever match you're playing on.
Yeah, I guess it'll be kind of like the specialists setup when you go to go to war. You can swap out things from there and do it that way.
I would probably just use War Room for my army and have 15 Arcana card, in all honesty. Whatever they employ. I can't see an easy way to put it into War Room, because every match you'd have to go through and edit your list. Unless it's just right when you go into start a battle, like the first thing it asks is what are your Arcana. But that, I think, is going to be a massive overhaul thing, because that's a whole extra step. That's not just list building.
It's not a confirmation. It'd be nice if they did that, go to battle, and you could choose your objective right then and there, too.
Yeah, but your objective is in your list always, right? So that's less necessary. The Arcana, hypothetically, if they wanted you to have to track like client bonuses and stuff like that, they could make you do something like that as that step, because that can also change from game to game. But I don't know. They might just make you need to have Arcana card.
And client bonus is not even tracked in War Room at all.
There's no reason for it to. It's just like Prey. There's no reason to mark it in War Room.
Yeah, but it could be something else to put in there if they're going to go through all the trouble of adding an extra step in War Room for just one faction. They might as well do it for everybody and take a look.
The less moving parts of War Room they have to put in, I think, the better.
Yeah.
The other change they'll probably get to make, unless people just do it with tokens, is the change to the Gators. With their theme, they go up to 8 boxes.
Yeah, it's a little funky.
Well, it's funny. Like that's easier to do in War Room, than out of War Room, right? Like, so people playing with cards, you either just have to get like a magic marker and draw 3 extra boxes, or use tokens, or just get your Mark II cards.
Yeah, it's a little 5-box thing. I still think with those things, like when you start messing with boxes, I don't think you should have a theme force to give extra boxes. Like, they should just be that way.
Yeah.
The issue is like it's Scorn, right? Scorn's the issue. Like in Mark II, Gators were just better than other medium-based infantry, so Scorn didn't run Centrati, they ran Gators with a Taskmaster. And so Gators need to be playable for Gators, but not supplant medium-based infantry for everybody else in Hordes.
I think the game's changed enough where, and not to discredit you, but I think it's kind of a moot point.
Like, enough stuff is friendly faction that you'd think they were around that, I guess, but...
Well, in Mark II, like, medium-based infantry was massive, big deal, but now you've got people fielding 11 stupid warjacks, and, like, 3 is the bare minimum. I don't think a 5-box guy is really going to be that big of a deal when someone's hitting them at dice +2.
Right, but your point was they should just make Gators better, and in order to make Gators better enough to be fieldable, they're going to reach a point where they're fieldable, and then aren't they fieldable for everybody in Hordes?
I'm just going with the boxes thing, because the boxes, changing boxes through theme forces just seems so funky.
Sure, I agree with that, but I'm saying that, so...
Like, you're modifying a hard stat. Like, I don't think there's any other theme force that does that other than Threshold.
There were a lot in Mark II, but not,
Like, a theme force that gives +2 mat to all warjacks or something. Like,
I mean,
that just feels weird.
There is +2 threshold for beasts in the troll one.
Yeah.
So I guess is
that was the only
similar.
precedent that I mentioned, yeah.
And that's, like, you don't have to track that, right? Like, that's just math. Like, they even could have said frenzy checks are -2, to the die roll or something. It could have been worded differently. No, so I get it's weird to track, but I think that they just had to be careful because they wanted to make Gators... Minion players weren't even taking Gators, and they wanted them to be good enough to be takeable by their own faction at least. But I think they were worried that if they just made Gators better, like if they just did an erratum that was Gators have 8 hit points and snacking, I worry that you would just see Gators in circle lists and Scorn lists, and it's cool to have them in there sometimes, but they were the staple. Like Scorn was literally 2 units of Gators and then pick your Scorn Warlock.
But then if that's the issue, right, then why even have the other than the flavor of Warmachine and Hordes being compromised? Why even have the system of picking mercenaries and minions? Because I know as a mercenaries player now, I just look at some of my options and I'm like, I know that this unit is adjusted the way it is because there's other armies that can take it and they break it in half. But now that means that the only things in my army that are good are my warjacks and my warcasters.
Right.
So that's why all these mercenary lists are just huge amounts of warjacks, because the whole purchasing other units from other armies is just not sustainable.
Yeah, and it's that knife edge, right? They need to somehow make the units, and it's mercs and minions that are the hardest to do this with, because they can do whatever the fuck they want with Wolves of Ouroboros, because it's not like trolls can take them,
exactly.
Right? But so it's all about the friendly faction, right? They need to be like, okay, brigands are really good if you put Defender's Ward on them. So minions will take them, but nobody else will, or they will, but they're not as good because they don't have Defender's Ward. But that's just so hard to just use the friendly faction balance.
Yeah, and then you're getting into the point of like how casters are actually built in minions and
all the other ones,
and
right?
Mercenaries.
Because then you have to make sure when you come out with a random Scorn Warlock that they don't make brigands too good, right? Because otherwise you get the supplanting, and so it's a fucking rough aspect of the whole Mercs Minions mechanic.
I also, maybe it's coming from a little bit of a sour spot over Kane 3, because like he's really great for Signar, but Jesus Christ, he's a horrible mercenary caster. It's like, this is what happens in Mercs when you give us a super solo. He fucking sucks because there's nothing else you take with him. It's like, okay, so I get this caster that's really good at shooting, implant Galleon. Okay, I'm just going to play Bart instead.
There's no ranged lights really in
that aren't
Mercs.
They're not serviceable.
I mean,
the Vanguard.
The Vanguard's too expensive. Like, I would love a Vanguard at 10 points.
Yeah,
maybe even
9
11
is probably okay for me.
Well, yeah, I mean 9 would be fuck yeah. I'll take
I think
Vanguard.
He's 11 right now, isn't he?
11 or 12. Like, yeah, he's too expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he can't take any of the dwarf ones. Whatever.
None of the there's what?
There's the Buccaneer,
which knocks things down.
You does no damage.
You get to POW 3 with the feet.
Does he? Because he's not POW 0, he's POW dash. And isn't dash the absence of a POW?
I guess you still.
And doesn't net even say do no damage? Does its net gun say this does no damage?
It doesn't add to POW, doesn't it? It adds to damage rolls.
Right, but if the net says does no damage,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like, that would
you would know
trump it.
better on
I'm
that
not.
than me.
I'm not gonna bother looking.
No.
Somehow I doubt anyone is actually going to try this.
No, you're not gonna take a bunch of Buccaneers to get them up to POW 3 on the feet turn. That's not some
man.
hidden tech.
Yeah.
Rolling that sweet boosted 13.
Well, it's like similar. Frickin' Rollock Moorclaw has Assault as his drive.
Yep.
With Mercjacks. So you have the Buccaneer and the Vanguard, who both already have Assault.
Yep.
You have the Dwarf Jacks that he can't take. You have the Mule, who gets to Assault in and then crit and knock himself down.
Yep.
And then you have the Mariner, who needs a Warrior model to be
He
base
needs
to
a
base
dude
with
to
him to
stop,
shoot.
yep.
So you have to run a Warrior model up to where he's going to Assault to so he can actually shoot.
Yep.
And that leaves the Rover, who has point blank anyway.
Yeah, it's a little funky. But I'm not trashing on Mercs in general at all. It just seems like there's a lot holding them back right now, and I think that's where like if people are getting salty about the whole like gun bunny spam, or someday people get angry about 9 freebooters, then that's the reason why Privateer Press has stuck themselves in a hole where they can't design really good Merc models.
Because they saw Merknar in Mark II. You know, they saw Signar Caster and a bunch of Mercs, and they didn't want that. So.
They just like double fixed it.
I mean, sure.
But at any rate, that was just my little soapbox stand for mercenaries and
Are we
minions.
still on announcements?
Well, yeah, I guess like the only other things that are coming up though are like the ATC has ended.
It has.
And
I will say
WITC?
this. Yeah, the WITC. In my head, it's always that scene from Private Parts.
Yeah.
But the WITC, we're going to change it. We're 99%. I guess I shouldn't. Well, fuck it. We're 100%. Because
it will change.
yeah, it's gonna be the 3 commanders format, the three-man teams, instead of doing 5-man teams.
Can I? You guys are talking about that maybe in August.
Yeah, August or September, sometime
Okay.
around there. Dodge Gen Con, but
We ha-
sometime around there. Why are you shaking your fist at me?
Because I'm not going to be available at that point.
I'm sorry. You're going to be in jail.
No, I'm going to have a child.
Sort of close.
Bring the kid. Yeah, you'll be in special. You'll be in parent jail.
Yep.
But no, so we're going to do 3-man teams for 3 reasons. Number 1, it'll be easier for people to form teams.
Exactly.
You know, you don't have to. If you're at like 3 people, you don't have to scrounge up 2 more. And if you're at 6 people, great, you've got 2 teams. It's faster, so we might be able to keep it a 1-day event. And it's different, so it'll be a unique format. So the people who go to both aren't just doing the same thing twice a year. They'll have 2 different experiences.
Would you still be doing the same kind of ATC matchup process, or be going more with like the lieutenant commander type of thing?
It's the 3-man. It has the same matchup process kind of, but then there's like the once per tournament shuffle. Like there's an actual,
the feat thing.
yeah, like there's an actual format already.
Yeah,
like, we don't have to make something up.
The one that exists is like player is assigned as 1, 2, or 3, and then they get matched up with their respective numbers, and then you can one time per the tournament shuffle the order if you want to.
Right.
And I think if you want to, you announce it at a certain time. So then if both players want a team feat, then they roll off to see who actually gets it, and then the other one keeps theirs if they lose the.
Or can use
roll.
it to trump the other one, I believe.
I don't think
Or
you
not,
can
it's
double.
not-
Yeah, that's kind of shitty.
Well, yeah. I mean, that would be like, yeah, I guess so, maybe.
It'd be one team's fee. It would be wasted. That
It'd be
way.
whoever.
Well, it wouldn't necessarily, because think about it this way. If you roll off, the winner of the roll can use their shuffle, and the loser just flat out can't. If the loser instead can first decide whether they want to risk it, I don't know, maybe not.
It just seems like it's almost not necessary, or
Fair.
not a necessary rule for the game. Then if it's able to be countered like that.
Well, whatever
'Cause it's
the rule
I team
currently
feat
is.
'cause this sucks, and then they team feat because it does suck now.
But if you both wanted to shuffle anyway, you must agree that it sucked.
Yeah, but somebody's got to burn it, right?
Right.
It won't come up often.
So if you lose the roll, you then just choose not to use your feet, and that's the same as the original version of losing, where the other person gets to use their shuffle.
It could be like this: Team A has basically a really bad matchup against Team B, and the first layout it just sucks. So Team A decides to use their shuffle, and then Team B is like, well,
You would be a simultaneous declare.
Kind of
Right.
like revealing
Yeah,
your,
like
your
it's
caster.
a
You have a
same
yes/no chit, and you flip and show whether you want to shuffle. So if
Okay.
Team B is risking, because Team A decides to double bluff it and they don't shuffle, but Team B does shuffle, and then they're obligated to change the matchup, and they were currently in a good matchup, that would be hilarious. Although that's probably not at all how the format works. So
Yeah, I know.
ignore all this shit.
I know
but-
Muse did it I think they did it the way that I'm explaining it, but
They probably. I mean, yeah.
we didn't team feat that whole time anyway, so I'm.
So I want to talk to you. If that's going to be the case, I'd like to introduce another aspect to that as well.
Yeah.
But I'll talk to you about it off air.
Okay.
It involves.
We're not spinning a wheel.
Oh, what? What?
Then you get random matchups
If
every
ran-
round.
Everyone.
No.
Everyone gets on a wheel.
Like, we all stand on a wheel?
Just get a little Gravitron or something and
No, we
fire
put
that baby
everyone-
up.
Get a merry-go-round.
Everyone gets a chip and puts on a wheel, and then we spin the wheel, and that's your partner.
Well, we've done that before. I've done random teammate two-person games, like the team event at Defcon where you play one combined two-caster army.
Yeah.
Done that before.
With random teammates?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've played in it and I've run it.
We had one in Madison not too long ago, like within the last year.
Oh, yeah, that was like one of the six-pack ones.
It was at Pegasus.
I had double Ron that time. Oh,
I think
that was so
might
good.
have
Because I ran one a couple years ago just for the hell of it. And I did raffle prizes instead of having first, second, third because I wanted people not to care if they won. But some people still super care, and somebody was so mean to their partner that she cried and left and never played Warmachine again. Good times. Like, I could not have done a more casual format, and somebody still ruined it for another person.
Yeah,
Fuck people.
It's tough when you get those casual, funsy events like that.
Because for the person who wants to win, if sometimes with team events, you just get shit matchups. Especially with this random thing. It's who's the boss style. If they were playing against, it was something absurd. It was Haley 2 and then somebody else that giving them TK just made them win the game forever. It was Haley 2, Kruger 2 or something absurd.
Ron,
or whatever it was. And so it did not matter what these other two people had. They were going to get brutalized. But, the person was upset. They felt like they were losing because of this other person, and then they took it too hard and ruined the game for
I
everybody.
think I know who that is.
Yeah.
That sucks.
But whatever. Life happens.
No, my suggestion was a potential addition of a certain cup of some sort.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we still have that?
We do.
No.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do, because some other country won it and they didn't want to take it, and so they left it
Australia
here.
won it.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to take it back with
Oh.
So Australia gave it to us.
them. So Australia gave it back to us. I was originally going to be planning for something around May or something like that, but MomCon is happening around the same time. So
Their
I just
Memorial
haven't
Day
really-
weekend.
Yeah, I haven't really thought. I haven't
That'd be
really
good.
planned it. But if we add it to that,
There are definitely opportunities to
it
bring
could be
back
a
in.
team thing.
Yep.
Maybe if we have multiple teams coming from a certain meta.
Or
maybe-
make Muse do it. They can do it at MomCon.
No,
It seems
they're
like not a
They
bad
don't
place
want to
to-
do anything with it right
Oh,
now.
what a bunch of fuckers.
Yeah.
They started the damn thing.
Brian and I, we were the ones that are going to be trying to run it again.
So rename
Because
it.
they started doesn't mean they probably want it back.
Right?
Well, we've owned it the most out of all the teams that are on the cup. Anyway.
That's true. Just
That was
Madison,
the
Madison.
They had the inaugural date on there, and then it's 4 dates of Madison.
Yeah,
and then
they had to
then we
cheat.
return it back to them, and then we get it again.
Because they're the first ones listed, but they didn't win it. They
No.
they engraved it prior to the first tournament with their what? You can't do that shit.
A little egotistical.
I mean, the Iowans, they try to get a leg up any way they can, and,
I know.
Yeah.
They have to take every
So they
chance they
made
can
their
get.
own award just so they could have Iowa on there.
It's like those golfing handicaps.
But yeah, no, I think with a team event run like that, I think it could be very useful. And if it's in the Midwest, I think that would having the Mayhem Cup being a traveling trophy was always really cool. I love the idea, but
The Australians ruined it.
I think having it where anybody who really normally participates in it has a chance at possibly bringing it back to their store is a little bit more fun. So making it more of a regional.
Yeah, a regional cup is a lot better than an international one.
Yeah. It would have to be much smaller. It would be just basically a solid plaque would be better in that case if we're going to have a travel the world. But actual cup that thing is unwieldy. I think it's broken right now too.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen this cup.
It's back before you joined.
It was before your time.
Just
Oh, you're
picture a
fine.
generic trophy.
Yeah.
Done.
And then with a lot of Madison.
It's on a little pedestal, and it says Madison, 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 Madison.
couple Canadian
Yeah.
places in Canada.
Doesn't say
That-
Muse.
I think there was a couple times it was down in Texas as well.
Yep. Yeah, the Texans did take
I
it,
think Muse is on the cup, I think, twice.
but once was
Or-
them cheating.
Yes. And once was when we got sick of running it and gave it back to them.
Yep.
Well, I got
Yeah,
sick
they
of running
they
it.
instituted the rule where like if the same people won it like 3 times, it had to come back.
I think we actually
Yeah.
instituted that rule.
Like we're tired of this. Take
Yeah.
it back.
That was when we were running the tournaments over at Schwegler's,
Yep.
the bowling alley, which was really awesome because it was a nice bar.
Oh, yeah.
They provided food. It was really, I liked that place.
And if you had to buy, you could bowl
Yeah, you could.
or play DDR.
Not bad.
Yep.
Gorshade 4.
Holy crap.
Or Gershade 1 or however it's...
Gershild.
Gershild.
Alright.
Ghyrshyld.
Or Glacial, maybe?
Maybe 2 L's.
Yeah, there's probably more Y's in
couple
there.
extra
but I'm
Ys,
not,
yeah.
I'm not
This is
thinking
the
of.
first caster that we've seen that appeared from potentially the time warped casters of 2010.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because he was one of the themes. Although it's again not back.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I mean, and those were not. They were just like alternate timelines.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's possible that stuff like that could happen now. But
Yep.
but he's the first one of that.
Yeah,
bunch.
I happen to have his little blurb up on here. In
Oh,
case
do you?
want to go through
What a
that.
surprise.
He's got
Right.
revive.
He's got a terrible spell, but then he has an amazing field marshal.
Yeah, Field Marshal Arcane Vortex. He
yeah.
has Revive. I think he has some kind of feat that gives his army Freezer, is what it seems like.
Probably
Yeah, that's
freeze.
probably-
Yep.
Yeah, it says freezing those who dare to close with them. So it might
And
be
to do them harm. So
well,
it might be.
It says who dare close with them to do harm. So I think it's going to be kind of an aura where like ending movement within X inches becomes
Yeah.
stationary.
So
It's either
they'll-
Borka's feat or Winter Troll's Animus.
Right. Winter Troll's Animus is my big. Does that require getting hit? No, that's just
No,
in
you
range.
just end
right?
your activation.
I
within
think it'll
2
be Winter
inches.
Troll Animus to either battle group or army. Army would be too strong probably, but
Probably a little bit.
that's my guess.
Yep. So he looks cool. Apparently, we're getting Nis now, which is really exciting. And we now have all of the Weapon Master units, which is also great.
Do they have a rule where if they're on the table with Nis Hunters, the Nis Hunters have to shoot them?
No, because these are free Nis instead of blighted Nis.
Yeah, but they're not blighted Nis Hunters. They're just Nis Hunters.
Oh, that is true. That
Their
is
job
true.
is to hunt Nis.
No, in fact, they make the Nis Hunters even better with their leader giving them immunity cold.
The Nis Hunters are actually just escaped blightedness. That's all they really are.
It was a joke and a play on words.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Like it wasn't complicated. Their name is Nis Hunters.
They hunt Nis.
Hunt Nis.
Yes.
Jesus.
It's like if you had a bear hunter. I mean,
I didn't think it was complicated.
It is cool to see the first like asymmetrical release, just to see the scope of what they're doing, because that's quite a bit. This
yeah,
is
'cause they
like
have
old Mark II
There's at
book
least
release
10
stuff.
models.
3 solos,
2 or 3 units.
3 units.
3 units if you count the
And,
Elawir swordsman.
So I guess
Yeah.
my curiosity is going to be the Arcanist unit, because you already have the Arcanist solos.
So they say they use force abilities for both attack and defense. So I'm hoping for some kind of god mix of Arcanist and Battle Mage.
As long as
Because
they
then
don't
my
have
little
empower.
Ron-loving heart will break, and I will die from happiness.
Yeah, if they get to do Force Bolt and put up like Discordia bubbles.
Yeah, because I know they have, well, not that, but I know they'll probably have Force Barrier, is what I'm
Right.
assuming. I
mean,
know
it
they
says-
have Repair and Empower.
Yeah.
So they've stated they have both of those things. So even more free focus for all of our jacks.
The new
question
character
is...
Jack looks goddamn amazing.
God, I
Mara?
want them to change
Yeah.
Sturm Drink.
And she is Iseria's character, Jack, which I'm so excited about.
This is my
because
new hill to
she
die
lady-
on. They need to errata Sturmendring's feat to say no Warjack affected by the feat may have more than one focus on it.
What is it now?
can't allocate.
You cannot allocate to them. So they still get their power up, and then you just put 17 focus on them with shit like this anyway. Like the War Beast is their Fury stats 1. They're capped. And in Mark II, it was their focus, like they
Because you couldn't
in Mark II, it was you could not allocate, and all of the like gain focus things all had built in if they're empty, give them 1. So they were capped at 1 goddamn focus.
Yeah.
I played Sturmendring against a Retribution list, and I feeded, and then he had 3 focus on all of his Warjacks. And I'm like, oh, so I just don't have a feat then.
Does anyone else have an empowered Arc Node? in the game yet?
I don't,
Apparently, Chimera has that.
yeah, that's the one thing I noticed that it said there too. I don't know of anything that's got an empowered arc node,
I mean, like
unless it's like similar to
Severius
2 or Severius, where when he casts through
Blessing.
of Vengeance,
Yeah.
that he has like +2 to the attack power.
Yeah, he also
Yeah.
has like Mark Target and gives Iseria free upkeep and
Yeah, it's
all good.
definitely Rhett is in Christmas mode when that book comes out. They manage their jacks like nobody else, and I know Kador is going to get stuck in the ass with a 7-point and power guy. It's gonna suck.
he looks really cool.
I can't believe, because Rhett is basically, in my opinion, I mean, besides the overflow that we have of Signar, I think Rhett is the hidden top pack leader.
I've
of-
said
just
since
can't
Mark
win a
3
tournament.
hit.
Yeah.
That they're the fucking cricks of Mark 3.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, they're ridiculous.
Yeah, except they can't
I
seem
just
to win a
picked up
tournament
all
ever.
those-
that's the players, not the
Yeah.
army.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've said this every single time that we've talked about Red. When I was pulling out my cards pulling out my Mark III cards, putting them into my sleeves and my old Mark II card sleeves, and I'm comparing the cards, I'm looking at them like, oh, this is just
Yeah.
better.
The Sentinel card almost like
Yeah.
it felt like it was heavier too. You're just like
the only ones out of all of them, and some people might disagree with me, is the Infiltrators. Were the only ones that just didn't. They don't
yeah.
carry the same weight, but like
I don't know.
every other card in there was just better.
Jay Larson's a decent player, and he went 1-4 at the ATC. Rhett must suck. Don't look at the format. Don't look at the format. But just stick with the fact that he went 1-4. Rhett must suck.
Yep.
He wasn't thrown into terrible matchups on purpose.
Nope.
I mean,
No,
of course not.
one of his lists, wasn't it like 3 units of halberdiers?
yeah,
Right, but
Syria
that's
with
the
3
thing, like
halberdiers.
they could have done the flip. They could have abused the format to make sure he never faced anything that could shoot him. You know what I mean? Like you just drop that shit against like Marauder spam and just win.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh,
But instead they just threw him to the wolves over and over.
yeah.
Well, you just choke on stuff because if you have like a shark player on the other team that you don't want to see, you make them choke on 36 infantry or whatever it is. It's not a bad tactic. I mean, we had Ethan with 3 colossals to do the same thing. Like
Yeah, he never ended up running that though.
he did. He
Oh,
dropped
did he
it
the
twice.
last? Oh,
Yeah, twice.
every time I talked to him, he said that he didn't get a chance to play it. Was it like his last 2 rounds?
Last day, yeah.
Okay, that
Because
explains it.
it was the tables that fucked him a little bit because there were some building the opposing side put him on tables that were really bad for that list, so he ended up always getting Assyria on the table.
So ones that had both a wall and a building.
Yeah, in the middle of the table. Yep, really bad.
Fair.
It was alright. Maybe Kalissa wasn't the caster to run with it either because I think he started using her to do work because she can, and I think Helena would have been maybe better just because she doesn't need to do work. She just makes sure they don't die.
Because 3 Arm 22 Colossals is pretty awesome.
I have a bone to pick with Travis and Will Pagani. So there was a picture that Will Pagani took of the zone in the center of the field
Yeah.
with a building lined up exactly in the center of the field.
Sideways across it, yeah.
Yeah, that was me. I set that up for them right in front of them.
Yeah?
Will gave the credit to Travis from putting it there.
Oh, okay.
If there's one thing Travis can do really well, it's take credit.
That's true. All weekend I kept calling him Zuckerberg.
Nice.
That was my nickname for him.
I was there for part of that. The interesting part of the story, I didn't think I told you, I got pulled over on the way home.
Yeah, you mentioned...
Oh, okay. I left the day 1 because I wasn't really needed day 2 because the 7-man
wanna bet?
tournament. You guys should have probably told me. You guys let
We
me
were like,
know.
yeah, I'm leaving. We're like, what? We're like, yeah, bye. And we're like, what? And then you were gone, and we were sad.
No, I told you guys I was leaving all day.
Yeah, I know.
I also didn't have my cot either.
Whose
the
fault
only
was that?
fucking thing I didn't bring was my bed.
The number one, the top thing on our list for things to change for next year was have at least 3 more people helping us.
Oh, all right. Well, you should have told me that. If you would have said if you needed me tomorrow, I would have stayed.
Because what we need is just table monkeys.
I was fine. I was fine.
We needed
with-
somebody at the computer to plug in results while we were out doing judge calls.
We could probably hire somebody from
Well, originally,
from a work service of some sort
Yeah.
that could enter it down.
James at Pegasus said he'd be willing to do stuff like that, and then I didn't touch base with him.
Sure.
But whatever.
I would have been fine with doing that too. I was playing judge on that side of the room too
Yeah.
when you guys couldn't make it.
Well, yeah, on the solo, that was your tourney to run.
No. But I mean, like, I heard there was a couple of times I went over for judge calls over.
You were probably wrong.
No, I wasn't wrong. I was right.
I don't know.
I was right. Hit me with one. I'll answer it.
What was one of the calls?
I don't remember. It didn't matter.
Okay.
He's a judge. Regardless of what he says, he's right.
No, I'm not a judge, but I'm pretty good with the rules.
I had to make a janky fucking call at the final table between one of the Lone Star guys and one of the Evil Genius guys.
Uh-oh.
Well, what it was he... So, it was Wormwood mirror match.
Okay.
Fuck that
Super
noise.
fun.
Yeah, super fun. Just slugs dry
Was
humping.
either one of them playing the circle theme where they get hunter or tracker or whatever?
I don't think so.
You could do a Zol mirror match, and then nobody gets Zols.
I've done a Gorton mirror match, and we both just put walls in front of ourselves and stared at each other for an hour.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wanted to...
I do have to say, Wormwood mirror match is at least better than Baldur 2 mirror match.
Or an entire second round of a tournament that's nothing but McBain mirror matches. Yeah. Because we sure have lived through that. That was not a well-thought-out plan. We're like, hey, guys, let's all go to Milwaukee and all bring McBain because he just was released 3 days ago. And we'll do the McBain pain train. And then everybody wins. And then they'll... No!
That grit was so true.
Oh, the truest of grits.
Whoever feats.
And we all had, like,
first
almost the exact
loses.
same list between all of us, too. We all had very similar lists going into that.
Well, I mean, yeah, the McBain list at the time was kind of like we had talked about, whatever.
Yeah.
So the point is this bullshit is Gedorex walked up because he had to walk across a wall to kill some wolf. Okay, pure blood feral, whatever. And then they get to the last person to activate, which is Wormwood himself, and they realize that Gedorex, his spirit was out.
Okay.
And of course he bought attacks to kill him.
Sure.
Yeah. And so then it's like, Wormwood could just heal it. But then the issue was Wormwood also was feeding, and Gedorex doesn't have Pathfinder. And so with the feed up, they weren't certain whether Gedorex would have been able to make it there or not.
Oh, okay.
And of course, if the spirit's out, so he can't even do the easy solution, which, because there was a game the previous round, the second to last round, where Pagani had a wolf that had a broken mind, and he, killed something, and he's like, shit, do you mind if I activate, and instead he just did E-Force to regen. So that works, but the spirit, so he couldn't. And so that's the what would you do.
That's kind of similar to the whole Crump issue at Warmachine Weekend.
Yeah.
Where
That feels like it's irreparable. There's no way to fix that.
Well, I mean...
I had to find a way, right?
Yeah, I guess, there's only... I shouldn't be a judge, but, at that point, when you're doing something that's that, ridiculous in the game, that so many things happen that couldn't happen, it feels like you just DQ and move on.
Well, so...
You could possibly...
You could. What it was is that it is fairly common for people to say, "Oh yeah, go ahead, your warlock just healed him."
Yeah, if you
that
could rewind it to
easy.
a state where it's one thing that could have happened, maybe you stopped at that crosswalk
the
instead of running
only thing that was
lady
necessary was that Wormwood activated first, right? And hypothetically, Wormwood could have activated at any point in time in that turn, to do that. The issue was just the feat, because the feat is what's fucking it. And so what I ended up telling the guy was, it's so close. With the feat, I have to roll against you because you're the one that fucked up. So if you feat, I'm going to say Gedorex was a half an inch short, or a 60. I'm going to put Gedorex just outside of melee with the Warpwolf, and I'm going to bring the Warpwolf back, and that's going to be the end of your turn with a living Warpwolf right there and Gedorex right there, and your feat up. Or you can choose not to feat, which solves the entire Pathfinder issue completely. Yep. So he chose not to feat, and then he got killed. But both players said they were happy with that, and so, because I talked to both of them afterwards, because I didn't know, that was fucking weird.
Yeah, it's just, people weren't paying attention to their rules.
Could Wormwood have been teleported somewhere else to keep the Warpwolf in control?
Feed a different
the
spot?
control isn't the problem, it's that Gedorex can't walk through the forest on his own.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, if Wormwood teleported over by Cassius,
so that the feet didn't catch Gedorex, but he still had control from maybe. It's not a choice I gave him.
It just seems like a lot of. I guess I would.
It is too many. I gave him just a binary. I'm either you didn't kill him or you didn't feat.
Yeah, two high caliber players should just be able to slow down and be like, I know it's a long tournament and everything, and it's a high stakes match, but just pay attention to your shit. You guys are better than this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually the two opponents should be able to figure out some type of solution on their own. It's just when both of them are refusing to budge on that, similar to that Warmachine weekend.
Well, it's a measurement issue, right? Like, they originally called it as a measurement issue, but, could he have gotten there? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know where he was.
Yep. Especially if he's walking over a wall, too.
And it's systems and aspects that do it. Like, everything else, even high-level players, it's so easy to not realize a spirit's out.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that, too. I've had that happen before as well, but if I'd been in the tank if I'd been in the game for 8 years or so, I think I might approach it differently.
Really, if everybody would just go to Use on Mini's store and buy the Crippled System tokens, it would solve all those problems.
That is one of the tokens that I see least on the table, are spirit or aspect tokens.
And I don't know why nobody buys them.
Which tokens?
We have dry erase tokens that have mind, body, spirit, and you just cross off whatever's off and just set it next to your war beast.
Yep.
And we had system ones as well for warjacks. You can still get them on Muse on Mini's store.
Yeah, it fixes that problem.
I think they're like $4 for 4.
Yeah, like they're
really
fucking cheap. They're McDonald's lunch cheap. And it saves me the headache of shit like that cropping up at a championship table.
Yeah, in fact, we implemented them. Well, we had them try to make them like a year before the Warmachine weekend incident.
Yeah,
and they got made soon after the Warmachine weekend incident.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very useful. I want to redesign them to make them nicer. Maybe see if they can make them into the clear acrylic versions.
Maybe.
I do wish that, at least for the card-wise, for the Hordes War Beasts, they were kind of boxed like the Warjacks rather than that little spiral thing they got going on.
Though. Oh, you mean, never mind.
The actual
I was thinking about, there's like the box of old Mark II cards that had the systems labeled, so you could cross them out when they were out. I thought that was what you're talking about, but that's no longer a thing in Mark III.
A lot of people were hoping with the switch to Mark III that those spirals would become more just like, horizontal lines.
Yeah, it's a stylistic screw up.
One, it's also just irrelevant. Like if you rotate those sideways and smash them down, they just become a 6-line grid, just like Warjacks have. Yeah. They become a weird spiky thing, but that's all it is. It's just a grid, just like Warjacks.
And it looks like we already have the precedent set with the other multi-box models. They all go left to right.
Yeah.
It's annoying because in War Room, when you're marking down damage on a War Beast, it's marked out that way.
Yep.
So on all of my...
Yeah, that is true.
Yep, all of my cards that I made all have that format for the War Beast spirals.
Yep.
It even has it in the CID.
Yeah, aesthetically, yeah. There's a preview image of mine over on the CID forums in the question area. If you look at there's a Cage Rager in there, and I've got the spiral made out that way. It's so much easier to erase damage as well, because Hordes, Warjacks and that, you're not really erasing that much damage, but as a War Beast, you're consistently
screw you, I play
changing.
Convergence.
Yeah. in general War Machine. In general War Machine, you're not taking off damage boxes, but in Hordes, you're consistently tweaking it. You're like, I'm going to take off one in the spirit, one in the mind, one in the body. Well, actually, if you're doing that, then you have issues. Because then you're bringing a War Beast back from the dead. If you're taking one out of the mind, one out of the spirit, and one out of the body.
Well, you do that when you have Respawn or Midas's feet.
Or I was thinking of them all being filled.
Barrel balls. Yeah, to bring them back.
And that's when Respawn or Midas's feet triggers.
True. Very true.
I mean, you could heal for 3 and only need to repair 2 of the systems, and you're just like, oh, I'll just take one out of that one too.
Yeah, yeah. There's really.
That's true. You could take a beast that has only taken 3 damage, and you can heal 1 from its mind, 1 from its body, and 1 from its spirit.
That's true.
You never said that you were reinstating functionality of those aspects.
My mind, I was reinstating those functionalities.
We're not in your mind. Steve's right.
Oh, so I want to be in my mind.
You can be there.
Yay!
You and Omnom dancing through fields happily.
He's very hungry. So am I.
So fun ATC stories.
You guys all played in it.
I have one that I just wanted to talk about because I felt like such an asshole.
More than normal?
Oh yeah, I felt real bad. So in round 5, I got paired up. I can't remember. I think it was Team Hay watched this. They were from Pennsylvania, like that. Maybe some of them from other surrounding states. So we go through the pairing process, and for our team, we had made up a spreadsheet, so I didn't even have to talk to Johnny. I stick by my spreadsheet. You just put me where you put me, and I'm good to go. So I get saddled across from their troll player. I think is Sean McGeehan. I think was his name. And he was super stoked. He was like, I want to play against somebody from a podcast so bad. And he's like, I'm super stoked to play against you. I can't wait for this game. And I had told myself in my mind before this, because I'd shit the bed all week because I was so sick, and I played like one game, 3 different things were going on in my head, and none of them were true on the table. It was just really fucky. I did really bad. So I'm like, round 5, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna be a good Warmachine player for 1 round. So he's got Doomshaper and Gunbjorn, Doomshaper 1. So I drop Osram was my first mistake, because I'm just like, okay, well, let's put Osram into a bunch of stupid troll heavies, because that's gonna be super cool with my POW 12 boosted guns, whatever. So we set up, we take our turns, I go first, I run, he puts his stuff, and he said it was the first time he played against the Earthbreaker. And I was like, okay, well, this is the threat range, and I've measured it out for you, this is how deep he can go. And so he gets into the threat range, but then he sets up his 3 troll heavies in a row, and then 3 Creelstone bears in a row, or scribes, and then Doomshapers behind him. So he's got this multi-tiered thing, and this guy was looking for a really fun, cool game, and I'm just like, I see Terran sitting like 12 inches away from those trolls, and I'm like, I got this. So I just like shadow fired a beast and threw an AoE, and it scattered, so it didn't direct hit the Creel guy that I was going for, but it scattered enough to get it, and since it was tuned up, I killed it. And then I put like a bunch of shots into Doomshaper, got his 1 transfer off, and then one-shot him with my stupid mortar. He had taken 6 minutes on his turn. And I was like, we can play another game if you want to. But I felt like such an ass, because after that we just talked and we had a good time, and it was a good exchange, but I was like, I didn't give you a good game. That was bad. I feel really rough.
Yeah. I mean, you did warn him. You're like, hey.
I didn't. He was like, I didn't. He's like, that's the first time I've seen Terran. I know she does that, but I just haven't seen her in Mark III. I'm like, yeah, she's cool, and I killed you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, oddly enough, there was another McGee in there. Like, it's not a common name, but there were 2 guys there with that last name, and they played a game against each other. They had McGee and off. Him and Dan.
Nice. But yeah, that was my weird. I think one of my more like or less flattering stories from the ATC. Other than that, it was a pretty good time. I enjoyed myself. I played like shit.
Steve and Max played in the Masters.
Yeah,
Steve got a plaque.
You did.
2nd place.
Yeah, way to go.
Go scoring. Only Hordes player in the solo Masters.
Yeah,
that is not surprising.
Almost beat Jordan Knack, who is not a bad player.
Yeah, I heard you got a bug on his caster.
I did, but I screwed up a bunch of order of activations and was unable to kill the only single model I needed to clear charge range.
Yeah.
Charge lane to get my bug there, and so I had to trample the Eridus soldier over to him, and then I missed the first buy attack with the first claw, hit the second one, and then hit the second bot attack, and then bought the third one with the bite, and I want to say I left him on about 4 boxes.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is like trampling instead of charging, you're losing 3 attacks and a extra die of damage on the first one.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
And it was a simple, stupid mistake of moving my Gladiator, which didn't have to move, which then we looked at it, put down a proxy base, used the laser. Probably should have called Andy over to judge it, to give his official yay or nay on it, to whether or not I had a legal lane, and we just played it as it was, that I didn't have the lane, and so I couldn't kill the one guy I needed to with my caster. Because Zadesh was the plan, was to have Zadesh go out, kill him, because he's got 5 folk fury to do it with after upkeeping.
Sure.
And then feed Eridus Soldier charges over at his caster that's within 10 and puts 7 attacks into him, 6 attacks. And he was sitting on 1 focus.
Yeah, it's a toughie when you get into those high-stakes matches, because we're used to being able to play against people on our casual nights or in our small Madison tournaments, where we're just like, okay, well, we know each other, we play against each other all the time, so we can like determine these positioning issues on the table really well. Mm-hmm. But your opponent always has a vested interest in winning the game in one of those big tournaments, so it's always like, I always try to tell, I think we've stressed it enough on here too, like, even if it's something ridiculous that you would just be able to like tell easily, you always call a judge if you have like any kind of dispute between the 2 players. It's just
and I'm always more familiar with like the friendly way of doing it, that I was like, I really didn't try to call anybody over to judge it, and then proceeded to, on his turn, tell him that Zadesh has sack pawn to his war beasts. After he had defeated my entire army 8 inches over with the plan of putting all the gunshots into Zadesh. And so I told him in advance to, hey,
here's how to win this game.
Yes.
Yeah,
so instead he put all of his shots into my Gladiator and Bronzeback, and then charged Snapjaw in there after moving wrong eye forward and killed my Gladiator. So now I evolved my beast at speed 1. Can't do any power attacks.
Yep.
And
Suck time.
Yep. At that point I had nothing to do.
Feels bad. I didn't even occur to me because Travis was supposed to just like call the captains over like that first day to talk about some stuff, and instead he just went into his whole welcome to the tournament spiel.
Yeah.
Which I was going to do that spiel, and that occurred to me that we never did our "for the love of God, please call judges all the time" thing that I always stress out.
Yeah, because that's your guys' job. I mean, some people might get to the point where they're like, they might have this like weird niceness going on in their head or courtesy where it's like, I don't want to bug anybody for this stupid thing. I mean, it's almost there, but we're just going to figure it out ourselves. Like, just call somebody.
The most courteous thing you can do for your opponent is call a judge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Because then it's impartial. Like, you've looked at the table enough to know, like, you can probably guess what's in or out more than someone else, I think. Not that I'm saying you have some kind of third style of vision where you can see whether a widget's hitting something or not.
It's the magic of not caring.
Yeah,
right?
You have
that's the thing is, like,
interest.
if something is literally indeterminable, you know, like which of these two models is getting an electro leap to them, and it's not like measure exactly an inch. Like, they're both smaller than the 1 inch widget and bigger than the half inch widget, and you can't tell by how much, and you just don't know. But it matters. Like, you get into that Canadian standoff where you're both like, one of you has to give it to the other person.
Yeah, you have to budge eventually.
And so not only does that suck, but then the other person feels bad to put you in that situation. Like, you both feel bad about making the other person have to budge, but neither of you wants to budge, and so it's double bad for both of you. Whereas you can just make my happy ass come over and go, "There's that guy, bye," and I wander off.
Yeah, nothing frustrates me more than a person entering in results, and I hear somebody go like, "Yeah, there was something that was really close, and blah blah blah, and you won because of that."
Yeah,
and like, you should have because at that point there's nothing we can do. And
Yeah.
there's one thing that frustrates me more, which is after the tournament's over.
Oh, yeah.
And someone's like, "Yeah, like my round 2 opponent, I really think this thing was wrong." It's like, what? I was in the room. Like, I was there.
Because, there's nothing we could do. I mean, we can, and we want to help. We want everybody to have nice, clean games. Because, to be honest with you, I think a game is at its most fun when it's clean, concise, and, you might get your ass kicked, but it was done cleanly. It was done with a nice washed boot. And so I want everyone to have nice washed boots when they're ass kicking. So
Well, on the same side of that too, I think part of the reason why it exists, that it's so difficult for people to want to call over judges, is because there's a small sect of people that when a judge is called during their game by their opponent, they get pissy about it. Like, what did I do wrong? Like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, what's the deal here? They get really off-putting towards it.
Sure.
I just fuck those people.
And that's part of my thing as well. Is like, please call judges. And please don't feel bad when your opponent calls a judge.
Yeah.
Like, it's not an affront to you. They're not saying, "Hey, you're a fucking cheater, and because you're a cheating pile of shit, I want someone who's not a cheating garbage dumpster, you motherfucker, to come do this." You're not saying that. You're saying, "Hey, this is really close. Let's take the stress off of both of our shoulders and just get the person whose entire purpose is to make this call to come make this call."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Let us be the bad guys.
Like, and call, like, anything.
Judge.
If you call over, you're like, "Hey, that dice has 5 pips on the side facing upwards. Is that a 5? Sure. Yes, it is. Like, call me for that shit.
Well, I'm playing against a high-profile player. It's always and
some people get cowed.
Yeah, you can kind of. It makes you play the game differently.
You don't want to be the one who calls a judge on Jay Larson because then you're a jerk and whatever. Mm-hmm. Those people nobody calls judges on each other more often than the high-profile players.
Yeah. Yep, they want an impartial person to let them know what they're doing, so they do it right.
Yeah, because they're at that level where they're clean.
Mm-hmm.
They're clean.
They don't want to have fingers of God. They want to have.
Yeah.
They want to have a nice, clean game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hate it when people come up to me after events during
it's
that
just
turn.
demoralizing, you know? It's like, you know, I've literally seen people like in tears because of losing a match or whatever. You know, they get emotional. It's like a big thing, and they're like, "Yeah, I should have called." And it's like, "Yes, you should have."
Yeah, that's why we're here. If we're going to be there. Considering other news that happened this week.
Oh yeah, Jesus, that was a lot of shit happening.
Yeah.
We'll be there. Nothing's stopping people from running events.
That's true, but big convention events, though, that's there's a presence.
Whoever's the judge, whether it be a privateer press staffer or your friendly local event runner.
Yeah, somebody they pick up from Home Depot on the way to the convention.
So here's the rule book. Just look at it. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Well, I'm not trying to leave Max at the bus stop for his ATC speakings, but Baraboo, I do all of the event stuff in Baraboo, except for there's a few times where somebody might pick up the slack so I can try and play a game. But I've been trying to become a PG for 3 years now, and it doesn't bother me that I run the store without any kind of official support, and I'm going to continue doing it.
Because that's the thing, is that there's... So I understand that for a lot of the PGs, it's a loss, right? And I'm never going to tell somebody not to mourn. I don't care if your mom died or if your favorite pen dried up. Like, if you are personally, emotionally compromised by this, that is your God-given right to do. So I understand the people who are actually shaken by the loss, okay? But the logistics of it are, so it's 2 letters next to your name and green text and some swag. And the thing is, if you give a shit about 2 letters next to your name and some green text, you need to revalidate your priorities. And the swag, everybody who runs events is getting swag anyway. It's just now, instead of being in the form of store credit, they're getting like doodads and widgets and shit in the event things. And they haven't gone into the details on it, but it's probably going to be unique coins, stuff you can only get by running events. And that's actually cool.
Probably very similar to when Mom Pock was being run in stores, where there would be like a special model or something like that.
Or like the X-Wing special alternate art cards and stuff.
Yeah, sure, yeah. I can buy Loki, you know? I don't need to use PG points to get a Loki. I can fucking buy him, but I can't buy a unique special token that you only get by running events. So that's actually cool. And then, barring those 3, there's a 4th reason that you want to be a PG, which is the thing you're not losing, which is that you love the game and you want the meta for the game to grow in your area. Brian is not a fucking PG. Never has been, and now never will be, and you have run a shitload of tournaments and leagues constantly. You've put more effort into it than half the PGs do because you care about that. And the fact that if you were a PG, you know, as of a month ago, and they were taken away from you, you're not going to suddenly stop doing that shit.
Exactly.
You know? So fuck them. The Tamlifts out there who are only PGs because they think it makes their dick look bigger and they can waggle it out there and say, I'm a PG. Fuck them, okay? But the Brian Kerrs out there are going to keep doing it, and they don't give a shit if their name's green or not.
Exactly.
I'm still going to run ATC and WTC. I don't care that I'm not a PG.
I'm still going to run
You're still going to run Who's the Boss. You don't care that you're not a PG.
No. Well, and that PG community still exists. Like, all those familial ties that you've built up, they're still there. It's just the representation of disbanding it really probably shook a lot of people.
It did.
It's coming around, like...
They didn't want to do it. I mean, they obviously did not want to do it.
When the announcement came through, it kind of, it struck me hard, and I'm like, And I thought about it, and then, actually, as I thought further about it, I started to think it was like Gen Con. That's the one event where I don't actually go to Gen Con to do anything Gen Con. I go there to basically support Privateer and run events for them. That was like the biggest kind of shock to me, is like, I'm signed up for Gen Con this year. What am I going to do at Gen Con this year? I normally
get some autographs, play some games.
Yeah, I just normally hang out with the
cosplay.
You can come do what me and Amanda do most of the time and run around and spend way more money than what we should.
No.
I think we're actually going to try and do real stuff this time.
But that's the only part of it that I'm really going to miss, because one of the things I enjoy doing a lot as a PG is just running events. I like doing running events and seeing all the players in that, and not And that's not to say that can't still happen. It'll be.
It's
in a
really
different
only at
way
the
now.
cons that you're losing that.
Correct.
You know.
Correct. And that's not to say that couldn't happen. I mean, they can still end up privately contracting with people to run events for them.
Yeah.
But it's in a completely different setting than what a volunteer for privateer is.
Yeah, the PG system like really gave you that feel like you were part of the company. Like you get to be involved with something that you really love and enjoy.
Correct.
So now it's just
Part of the
interesting.
company, like, oh, I don't know, an employee, for example.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
I know it is. I know it. Oh my god! And the people. Oh, Colin, I love you. So, obviously, there's no official statement about it, but it's this has to have something to do with
It's very
the magic
coincidental. Yeah.
lawsuit, right?
Did that finish, or is that still in?
I think that's still ongoing.
Still ongoing. Okay.
So, stop this is familiar. A hobby game company has volunteers who go through a vetting process, fill out an application process, get approved to be somebody who runs events, and they run those events. In exchange for running events, they get credits that they can use to buy product from the company. Mm-hmm. Not the PG system. No, of course I'm not talking about the PG system. I'm talking about Magic's Judge program. But yeah, so I mean, it's not a fucking coincidence, right? Like, even if that isn't what is the reason, it sure as hell was the nail in the coffin. Like, if they're like, man, it's really difficult. We got like 1,500 PGs. This is difficult to do. What's that massive lawsuit? Maybe we better just end it.
Yeah.
But the point is, people are like, I don't believe that's the reason unless they come out and tell us that's the reason. I'm like, are you insane? Like, if you come out on public record and say, yeah, that practice that's getting a company sued for millions and millions of dollars, and they're probably going to lose that lawsuit because legally speaking, it is indeed illegal what they were doing. Yeah, we were doing that too. Like, of course they're not going to fucking come out and say that.
Yeah.
Oh, rough stuff.
Somebody in the chat was asking about the PG judge program being over, and the judges are not going away. The judges are staying, but
It's probably going to be reformatted, so it's more of an employment by convention status. Maybe?
there
Or
is
something.
so I assume I can say this, but there is zero requirement to run events
Sure.
because it is not a term of I'm not required to do work, and there are no more points. I am in no way reimbursed. So I am in no way an employee of the company, even if you squint at being a volunteer versus paid.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just somebody who knows the rules and does CID.
And enjoys doing that. I mean, that's
Well, sure, but they don't give a shit about whether I enjoy it. Like,
Sure.
as far as my official, like, what makes me a judge is that I have CID and I'm, talked to about rules and stuff.
But you wouldn't put yourself in that position there unless you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
or
sure,
you wouldn't
obviously.
continue to be in that position.
But my
unless you
name's
enjoyed it.
Blue and I have a special title.
Yeah, that's and I'm that's kind of why I'm glad that, in a sense, it might be blasphemy. I'm kind of glad that the PG program is gone because of
Some
that
people were in
reason.
it for the wrong reason.
There was a lot of people in there who just believed that they were entitled
Right.
to product, to people worshiping how long they've been in that said PG program. There's PGs who like to just rub that in other people's faces, how long they've been in the PG program.
Right.
And all they did was just bring viscous, just vitriol to wherever they went.
So some people are in it to build their meta. So that's what it boils
Yep.
down to. Some people are in it to build the meta, and those people are still going to build the meta. Some people are in it for the community, and there's already an XPG's Facebook thread
Yep.
and website with a forum. So
Yep.
they still get to be in that community and touch base with other people, and hopefully continue to also do part one of the build meta.
Yep.
And there's some people who are in it for the prestige and the swag, and fuck those people.
Yep. Yep.
And you're okay if you're in all three. I mean, it's cool. Swag's cool. Having a green title is cool. But if that's the only reason you're in for it, if you didn't give a shit about the meta or the community, you can go die in a fire.
Yep. So the one thing I do feel bad about the PGs for store wise and for the community is another things that we heard on the PG forum a lot is stores that were just assholes, and the fact that stores are going to be the ones put into the power of presenting prizes for these events, or even just
But the stores
supporting
don't
the
have
events.
like the stores have always been the people. Like PGs were not allowed to buy prize kits.
Correct,
Like
correct. No, I-
only stores can buy prize kits. So
Yep.
the stores can still run it. I don't know.
I guess if you have a store owner that doesn't really care about the Warmachine product,
Sure.
you have a PG that basically kind of, in a sense, forced their way into the store and got a community running in that. The store owner there still doesn't care about it. That store owner is probably not going to be ordering prize kits for that PG.
Maybe. My thought would be the store owner was under no obligation to do so just because that person was a PG, right?
Sure.
Like, if I'm a PG and I go to Pegasus, I want to run an event, they can go fuck yourself. Like, they already could have done that.
Yeah. That's
Like, Privateer wasn't going to, like, call him up and say, Nathan said you won't buy him a ticket. Meh. So...
I think there's also there's some talks in figuring out what to do for people who don't have a store. So if you have a store that's an asshole, I'm sure you can use that same back door.
There's a ton of clubs. You can easily sign up for a club. I believe you just have to talk to retail at Privateer Press. I believe that's the email. Or Quartermaster at Privateer Press. You just contact them there, and they'll probably be able to help you set up a club.
The flip side, the thing that I'm hopeful will happen, like Madison, this wasn't an issue because we didn't, like, I don't know if it's out of laziness or out of actual being nice, but, like, you know, if Max is like, hey, I want to run an event, none of the PGs are like, get off my toes, punk, I'm the PG, only I can run events. They're like, sure, fuck it, go, I'll order you a kit, go run an event, I don't care. It means I get to play. Yeah, hooray! But there are a lot of areas where there are people who, like, their PG's an asshole, or their PG, like, never runs events but won't let anybody else run events, and this opens up to literally anybody. You can just go to the store and say, hey, I want to run an event, can you order a kit? Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and now for me, with Oshkosh is one of my favorite places to play. They've got a really fantastic store.
Lazy Hobo, you should get tacos. Tacos are always the best thing to get for dinner.
I'd agree.
I was going to go with
So
Hardee's.
I love the Oshkosh store. There's a bar that I love going to there, a pizza place for lunch that's just fantastic. But they don't run events very often. They had a couple problems with some PGs dropping off, and then one of them just recently had a child. So when I had always flirted with the idea of asking the store, like, can I just run an event for you? Because then I'll be able to go there, bring a bunch of people with me, and then go to this bar. Now I can just do that.
Oh, yeah.
And then the PG could come, or the people the one who had the kid, or the ones who fell off the wagon a little bit, they could come and show up and be like, oh, I don't have to do anything with it. It's great. And then they just play, and I get to go have my bar burger and go to Nice Lady Pizza Place where they have bottled Sundrop.
Yep.
And everybody's happy.
Yeah, if you ever come to northern Wisconsin, you need to get bottled Sundrop, because bottled Sundrop is the best.
It is.
I have never had this.
You get to see all that sediment floating in there. It's like the Guinness of soda.
Here's my soda call out, which is when I was a kid. So I don't know if it used to be a Wisconsin soda, but now it's a Southern soda, because when I looked up online, it's the only place you can get it. But my grandparents always had 50-50 in their fridge. And I don't think there would be anything more nostalgic than for me to drink a nice cold glass of 50-50.
Wasn't that Jolly Good that made that?
I don't know who
fairly
makes 50-50.
certain it was Jolly Good.
But it's like Sprite, you know, the lemon lime thing, except I forget which one of those two isn't in it. But whichever one of those two isn't in it is replaced with grapefruit. So it has just a different flavor to it. It's like, well, Squirt is
it's a grapefruit soda.
That's a grapefruit soda.
But is it just grapefruit?
Just grapefruit.
Okay, yeah. So 50-50, I think it's like grapefruit lime or something. And so it's just a different citrusy thing. I just drank it all the time when I visited my grandparents up in Fond du Lac. So, you know, listeners, send me a case of 50-50.
Have you checked Woodlands?
They don't have it.
You sure? I could have sworn
If you
the
had it.
cops over here that on our way over on Keswick, and I could have sworn. I could swear that I've seen it 50-50.
You see it there. Okay.
There. I'll see if I can find it.
You find me some 50-50, and I will have flashbacks to trawling on Lake Winnebago for bullheads with my grandparents.
Troll for bullheads?
Yeah.
I used to be able to just, like, out by the Horicon Marsh, just stick, like, a piece of caramel on the end of the hook and just throw it, and then just wait for bullheads to eat it.
Yeah.
Bullheads will eat anything. They're stupid fish.
Lake Winnebago is the sheephead capital of the world. True story.
Bluegills are my favorite fish.
I hate fish.
If I have to eat fish, I like walleye or sunfish. Walleye is really good.
I do fish fry because I can put an amazing amount of tartar sauce on each bite of fried fish, and then I don't taste the fish anymore.
It's like
delivery system.
Yeah, it's like ketchup for me with French fries.
Yeah. I had a friend in high school that would swirl his ketchup. Swirls ketchup. He would like swirl the French fry into ketchup, lick the ketchup off, and then do it again.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, he was just eating ketchup, but instead of a spoon, he just used the fry.
That's messed up. I'll at least eat the French fry.
Might as well just eat it out of the ketchup packet at that point.
Right? He probably did.
I mean, you got to have the excuse, though, is the thing.
Back me up on this, speaking of weird shit and ketchup related. So Raylene and I, we took the dog to the park. We stopped. We got gas station hot dogs. Got to get yourself gas station hot dogs. So she had ketchup on hers. On mine, I did pickles, pickles, mustard, and mayonnaise. Okay. And she glared at me like I was a sociopath. But here's my point. Stop before you say that. Because you're thinking I'm a sociopath.
Yeah.
If I had 2 slices of bread and some ham, and on that I had pickles, mustard, and mayonnaise, you'd go, well, yeah, that's just a sandwich. But how come when it's in tube form on a bun, it's fucked up?
Ham is a little.
It's just
different.
one of those things.
Bologna, whatever. Like if I have any lunch meat between bread with mayonnaise, mustard, and some pickles, you'd be like, "Yeah, it's a sandwich."
Mayonnaise and mustard are just gross to me, anyways. So I can judge you for that.
If you see a sandwich with mayonnaise and mustard, you might be, I don't like that, but you're like, "Yeah, it's a sandwich. That's normal for a sandwich."
Is Raylene more of like your standardized Wisconsin picky eater, where because just having ketchup on a hot dog is something I do, and I can't stand the smell of relish or sauerkraut or any of that bullshit. So as soon as you put mustard in front of me, I want to vomit, and that's what I'm thinking. She was looking at you like
hot dog was $2. Those toppings are free.
Yeah, I guess if you want to if you want to take that route, sure.
You are making my German heart just cry.
I'm sorry, I can't do it. Every time I smell sauerkraut, I'm just like, God damn it! It smells like a German's ass here.
The Saturday buffet was not your thing at the W.
No, I saw that big fat of nasty.
You got a sauerkraut?
I got so much sauerkraut.
Oh man, I was just piling sauerkraut on my plate.
Yeah. The only thing that I didn't like about the whole lunch thing were the brats, because they were your typical buffet style brats where they're more like onion meat instead of just a brat, which is they're very different.
Yeah, they're just boiled in with onions. And They're just boiled brats, and I don't like boiled brats, but the hot dogs are actually pretty good.
Very good. The only problem I had with that buffet was the buns were like
hard.
They were a little stale, or even not that they're those nicer buns, like those Kaiser rolls or whatever, but they're huge. Like they're fucking huge. Like they're good for if you do a Philly cheesesteak or something, but a brat or a hot dog just gets lost in there.
They did okay because I put so much kraut on mine.
Oh, that's
They also softened up because I had so much kraut on mine.
Yeah. They just unhinge your jaw and just go for it.
Kraut.
Anaconda style.
Hamburger being a sandwich or not? I'm in team sandwich.
I don't go with if it's got a top, like the bun. If it's got a bun and like the top is cooked, that's not a sandwich. It has to have like a slice of bread.
So sloppy joe's not a sandwich?
No, I don't think so. It's more of a sloppy joe.
See,
it is its own thing.
So it's purely the conveyance device.
Exactly. If it's 2 pieces of bread, but if you take a hamburger and then slice off the top of it. And then grill that, then it's a sourdough bread.
But what if I went to some place like Firehouse where they have like deli style sandwiches that are served on hamburger buns?
Firehouse has that?
I guess
maybe so. For some of their smaller ones,
maybe the contents of this.
That's not a New York steamer then,
or Cleveland steamer.
I'm not saying it's the
I don't
correct
get a Cleveland steamer. Oh my!
I'm saying it's an option.
I guess I wouldn't call a hamburger a sandwich.
Wouldn't either, because usually like a sandwich, like you don't need to cook anything. You just throw it all together. If you throw hamburger meat on the bun, you don't cook
Reubens
it.
are the devil.
What? We need okay. So we need
Is that what's going to happen?
On MST3K, they call them hamburger sandwiches, and so in my head they're sandwiches because it's a hamburger sandwich.
I just know. You can't. A hamburger is a hamburger, and that's the way it is.
Everybody only calls it a hamburger. I don't know why on
But I'll call
MST3K
a crispy chicken sandwich a crispy chicken sandwich if it's got a hamburger bun on it. Like
yeah, what the fuck? I mean, chicken's a sandwich.
I know. I don't know. I'll label a hamburger as a hamburger, and a Reuben as
the better
an
example I
abomination.
saw was somebody took a bagel. They sliced it the wrong direction, so like it was 2 C's, and they put like just a little bit of like stuff on each of those parts and put it there, and they're like, "Is this a sandwich?"
No.
It's 2 pieces of bread surrounding a filling.
It's a bagel with fucked up filling.
Well, if you sliced a bagel the right way and filled it with like, is that a sandwich?
I don't know. Just call it a bagel.
But not just cream cheese. Like if you put like, you know, some spinach and ham and all that shit. It's a breakfast sandwich,
or a
right?
breakfast bagel. Call it a breakfast bagel.
So is a croissant a sandwich?
No, it's a croissant-wich.
It has "witch" right in the name.
But that's not the same though. It's with a croissant.
Which is sandwich?
It's all about labels
they
here.
sandwiches or are they
this is
subs?
it's not. There's no physical breakdown of
or
formula.
A hero.
It's a gyro. Is a taco a sandwich?
Well, there's also heroes,
It's gyro.
No, those are people with capes that fly around.
potentially, sometimes.
Yes, a hero is a type of sub. A gyro is the Greek pita sandwich with tzatziki sauce, and fuck
And it's
yeah,
delicious.
I will mainline that shit. I will inject that sauce right into an artery. But is that a sandwich? Because that's basically a soft shell taco.
Yeah, it's one piece of bread type substance.
I mean, in that sense,
But
a
open
taco
face-
could be a sandwich.
That's what I'm
It's-
saying. And if you need 2
between
slices of bread,
essentially
what about open face
bread-like material.
sandwiches? They have sandwich right in their name.
I got a closed fist sandwich for you.
Yeah? Is that a donut?
I thought that's more of a knuckle sandwich.
It's a closed fist sandwich.
I don't get it.
It's filled with knuckles.
There's no bread.
I didn't invent it.
Okay.
Truly, Gorna78, you have taken us to the edge of the abyss.
So yeah, one thing I forgot to mention to Max and to Steven. If you're reading anything from the chat, you have to read off what the chat says, because the audio, because we're primarily an audio podcast, and they can't see chat.
But Nick mentioned the shitty hamburgers at college that were on white bread. Well, and given that hamburgers already are a sandwich,
That's all. Yeah. So are you saying that when I run out of hamburger buns and I have the Wonder Bread,
You have
With meat in
transformed
the
it
middle.
into
They
a
are
sandwich.
magically transubstantiated.
I never had a hamburger on
into a
white bread, but I
sandwich.
sure as fuck had sloppy Joe on white bread.
yeah,
Because we would get sloppy Joe mix, and we would never buy buns.
have you never had a hamburger or not a hamburger but a meat patty on 2 white bread?
Oh, I've
You know
done
what?
that.
The Encore, like when they come in the tray ready to go in the oven of like the Salisbury steak patties,
Sure.
I've definitely slapped those between 2 pieces of white bread.
I don't mind those. I hate it when the bread gets soggy though.
Well, sure,
But-
you just got to eat it quickly.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, that's a meat sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would call it a broke person's hamburger, or I would put it on the.
So
I'd
is
put
a
it on
broke person's hamburger a sandwich?
No, if they were to brown their bread on a pan, then it would turn into like a patty melt.
So
Which is a sandwich?
Which
so
is, no,
I
a
can
patty melt's a
toast?
patty melt. It's different.
Wouldn't it
That's a
then
type
be-
of sandwich.
Wouldn't it be a panini though? What if I put it in a panini press?
That's still another label. You're labeling the
So a
thing. There's
panini
no formula
is
for
not
sandwich.
a sandwich.
You're saying a panini is not a sandwich?
No, there's no formula for sandwich. You don't call it a panini sandwich.
What?
So you're saying if I put my sandwich back into my George Foreman grill and pressed it, it's not a sandwich.
It's all how
I'm
you
going
label
a
it.
different direction here.
You can't break this.
No, I can. Describe to me anything that you would consider a sandwich.
Sorry there. Anything I call a sandwich.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
I want a description specifically.
It's all about labels and how I decide
if
to
I
label
said,
it.
Ryan, bring me a sandwich, I'm going to make you a sandwich. What do I need?
You need what I ask you to put on it.
Right, and I'm asking,
Like cheese and ham and white bread.
cheese, ham, and white bread.
That'll be a ham sandwich. For me.
Perfect. If I toast the sides in a panini press, it's no longer a sandwich?
I would call it a grilled ham and cheese sandwich at that point.
But that's what a panini is!
No, but a panini is like that's what pretentious people call a grilled ham and cheese sandwich.
Sure, because it's a sandwich.
Because it's a label. It's just a label. Like you're just not getting it.
I don't think we want Brian on the podcast anymore.
Grilled ham and cheese is a sandwich, but grilled ham and cheese is not a sandwich.
It's all in how you
Dada shit.
It's
This
all
is
in
a
how you
cookbook
interpret
made by
it.
Salvador Dali.
When is a sandwich?
I'll take
not
that.
a sandwich.
I'll take
When
that
it's a
as
panini. Christ almighty.
So we didn't have any Zappy crumbles. There was
Yeah,
one
we
at the very
did.
top.
It was if you had to live like in a horror movie.
A horror movie or
action
sci-fi,
movie. Or
right?
action movie.
Oh, action.
I'll go first. I am going to choose Last Action Hero.
Because it's both.
I want to live in Jack Slater's world because that seems like fun. I want cartoons. I want
Bullets miss you automatically.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
I want
Or
I
it's
want
just a flesh
issues.
wound if it does hit you.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to live in that world.
Well, people can die in that world. The villains just get caught eventually. But that doesn't help you if you're the plot murder.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not safe. Like, you can still die. Because you aren't Jack Slater.
No, I'm not. No. God, my mind is still wandering into that movie now, and I just remember the whole scene with Charles, what's his last name?
Dance.
Yeah, Charles Dance's sequence in there when he finally crosses over into the real world, and he's sitting in the middle of a New York alley firing a gun, waiting for the cops to show him up immediately. He's like, hello? I just shot somebody.
Charles Dance is great in everything. The more importantly, if Steve and Max just started grinding their crotches on me, would that be a sandwich?
It probably could be if you wanted to call it a Nathan sandwich.
Okay. But if I was grilled,
I would call you a poor soul.
okay.
Drop something.
Fair enough.
Someone in chat asked if Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a horror movie. My first wife had nightmares about that movie, and she couldn't watch it anymore because when she was a kid, she saw that poor shoe get dipped, and she screamed. She didn't sleep for 2 days, and that was the end of that.
Judge Doom is very
Fucking terrifying.
terrifying in that film, too.
Yeah. I mean, if that's in the running, I'm going to choose that one as my movie that I would be in.
I actually thought about that when he mentioned the cartoons of Jack Slater's world. I've always wanted to do a group cosplay at like Gen Con or something and just do the Toon Patrol. But not like as, not dress up as weasels, because that'd be really difficult and you'd look like furries and people want to yiff you. But just do somebody with a beanie and a baseball bat, somebody in the green zoot suit, somebody in the straight jacket.
So people looking for ATC team themes for next year.
I guarantee you will win.
Oh, you should make it a costume. Have an extra points for your team if you show up in costumes.
Only Toon Patrol, though.
No, there's
It's a requirement for entry. Every team has to be dressed as the Toon Patrol.
Some team can show up as the Power Rangers. I will give it that.
Okay, all right. You have to be... Okay, it has to be a 5-person team from... Okay.
Voltron. From early Voltron as well, or
90s.
Power Rangers.
Yeah, you can be the Toon Patrol, you can be Voltron, you can be Power Rangers.
G-Force?
Sure.
Throw G-Force in there.
You can be Transformers. What?
I want to be in the Power Rangers.
Okay, Amanda's calling dibs on Power Rangers.
Justice League?
I do like in the trailer for the new Power Rangers, not to divert off of this topic, but I like in the trailer for the Power Rangers, because I guarantee that's the next step they're going with it, is they're finding a reason why everybody's a racist color. Because in the original Power Rangers, the Black Ranger was the black guy, and the Yellow Ranger was the Asian.
Sure.
Don't say the yellow person. Jesus Christ!
I thought you were going the other way around for that one.
No.
But it's like, no.
The point is,
Was the Black Ranger an Indian?
no, but
He was a red-blooded American.
yeah.
Okay.
And the Blue Ranger was sad because he was a nerd, and the Pink Ranger was a girl. Whatever. The point is, Black Ranger, black, Yellow Ranger, Asian. So in the trailer for the live-action one, a white dude is the Black Ranger. He's like, I'm black, and the black kid's like, the fuck you are? So I bet he's gonna make him switch.
Quite possibly.
That's my prediction.
No, I want to have what's his name?
5 out of his prime team.
Nick, you are not coming to our events.
Okay.
Not anymore. No. I was going to say, we can have the Power Rangers, their colors assigned, but only by the old guy from Tarantino's movie. God damn it. I can't think of the movie now.
Cool. What? Huh?
What's the premise of that Tarantino
Kill
movie?
Bill?
No, it's his first movie.
Reservoir Dogs?
Reservoir Dogs, yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
you want
I want it to
nice
be
guy,
assigned
not nice
by-
guy. You want Joe? Yeah.
Yes, Joe to assign
You're the
team.
Black Ranger. You're the Pink Ranger because you're a faggot. Yeah.
I can't
Some other guy on the other team is a Green Ranger.
That's why you're the White Ranger. I already have a Green Ranger.
Yep.
I can't think of a horror or action film world I want to live in right now. I just keep thinking about Cabin in the Woods because the technology they had was fantastic.
Sure.
Oh, you wouldn't want to be one of the sacrifices to the old gods. Spoiler.
Well, yeah, no.
It's that I don't know, man. That what they had was pretty legit though. Like they could just make anything real.
Can you imagine if that was a video game, if that was actually
I
Resident
know
Evil
you could
7,
make a shit ton of money off of that. That's a
And
lucrative world.
where every single time you go into that game, it's a different genre. If it's a different set of villains that
It
you're
would
fighting.
be Westworld, but not with some shitty crazy guy, just some god that wants to kill you.
The closest they kind of had, at least that I've played, was Monstrum, which is it's a first-person, have no weapons survival game, a la the Amnesia and Outlast and whatnot. And you're trying to get off of a boat. You wake up on this abandoned ship, and the ship outline is randomly generated every time.
Sure.
The supplies to either refuel the helicopter or there's 5 different ways you can escape, and the doodads for each of them are randomly shuffled around the ship. And there's 20 different possible monsters, and a random monster is attacking you each time.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
If it was done in the...
Yeah.
Can you imagine talking to people there? It's did you see the Fishman?
Yeah.
Fishman? I've never encountered a Fishman. We're well, if you go here...
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be... Yeah.
But I can't think of a specific one right now. But my horror movie, I would want something like Lost Boys or something like that. Something with vampires or werewolves where I could get bit and become a vampire or werewolf, because it would kick ass to be a vampire or a werewolf.
I was thinking about going the same way with the Marvel universe. I could live in those films and
Sure.
then just roll the dice on being a mutant.
Right.
Just
But
run into
that
a
you
nuclear
kinda
power
have-
plant,
Sure.
arms waving.
Yeah, but I'd be like, I'm
That you
trying
might
so hard.
die.
You have lymphoma.
The vampire or werewolf, maybe I can get
You can orchestrate that.
I can orchestrate one. That's controllable.
Yeah,
like
finding
radioactive
radioactive
spider, I
spiders.
might just get cancer.
Yeah. Or I would actually be bored into the world as a mutant, and then I would be long shot, and I'd hate my life.
Fair.
I'd be really lucky, though.
Steve.
I was thinking probably the thing I think off the top of my head is probably just the Star Wars universe. That one would be kind
not
of
a
cool to
horror.
be. It's not a, but it's an
It's
action.
action.
It's an action, okay.
If you consider
There's
space
horror.
games, yeah, it depends on how much you break it down.
I screamed a lot through the prequels.
I'm a baby when it comes to horror
Why
movies,
would
so I
you
would be
do
terrified.
that?
It'd be bad for me.
Alternately, I could do Species because Natasha Kinski, Henstridge, whoever it
But
was,
she
yeah.
murders you after the fact.
And?
You're not in that world
Still
for very long.
got some.
Yeah. Doesn't matter, had sex. That's the only one.
I think so.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there was probably something else in there, but we're running kind of close on time, so we
right.
should probably
Fine.
jump over to the recommendations. Anybody got some?
I have an amazing recommendation. It is a board game called Role Player, and a Wisconsin designer was behind this one. So I just walked into I'm Bored once, and Amanda and I saw it. We were like, "Oh, Role Player! It seems neat." They had a bunch of dice out, and rolling dice is cool.
ROLL or
ROLL.
Yep.
And the gist of the game is basically you are just building a character for a role-playing game for ROLE.
Right.
And your goal is to just make the best character possible. So for me, when I was playing Baldur's Gate 2 when it came out, I could only ever play a game for 10 minutes because I'd want to scrap the character and start a new one. So this board game was fantastic for me, but it's a lot of dice rolling, and then there's a lot of ways to manipulate the dice you assign to certain traits, and then you can get a backstory that needs to match certain colors. And then you can get a class that lets you do certain things and skills that you build this really interesting looking character, and there's a lot of fluff in it that you can just build some weird shit. But it's a super fun game, and if that's something that you enjoy is just the building of characters, it's definitely something to check out.
Is it fairly quick to play, or
I would say it's fairly quick. Once people get the gist of what's going on, sometimes you spend a lot of time figuring out how you need to plan your stuff out because it takes a lot of forethought to make sure that you meet this goal that's off in the distance. But I would say probably no longer than an hour with 3 or 4 people once you get the gist of it. Get a game or two under your belt.
Cool. My recommendation is definitely go see it soon. It's probably going to be the #1 movie again, but I missed it because of the ATC and other shenanigans. But go see Logan.
Mm-hmm.
God
See
damn.
it Tuesday. That's my plan, to see it Tuesday.
I'll go see it with you again.
Okay.
Or we
Maybe.
should go see Kong.
No.
We should see Kong.
Oh, maybe I'll see Kong eventually.
We should go see Kong.
Or I'll go see Logan, and then I'll sneak into the closing credits of Kong, because I just want to see the after credit sequence.
No, we just want to see Kong.
No, I don't give a shit about Kong.
Brian had mentioned that Kong has a lot more Kong in it than what Godzilla was. Which,
Well, sure, because-
which overall, it's good monster film.
Percentage speaking wise, the American Godzilla film had more Godzilla than your average Godzilla film has.
True.
People who are angry about that movie not having enough Godzilla have never seen a Godzilla movie.
Correct. And everybody should go see Shin Godzilla. But anyway, Logan was really, really well done. I thought it was not going to be as good, but I found myself loving that film all the way through. I mean, it is a tearjerker as well, in a sense. Yeah.
My recommendation is Captain Sonar. So I finally got
Heard
to play
good
that
stuff.
game yesterday with some other folks. It is a board game that is basically designed to be played with exactly 8 people. You are 2 rival submarines that are trying to hunt each other down across a map. And so you have like the captain, the first officer, the engineer, and the radar operator. And so you have to yell out which direction you're moving and like where you're going, whether you dive or launch sonar or something like that. And basically the radar operator's job is to listen to the other team and try to figure out where the hell they are. The captain is moving you along. The engineer is trying to make sure the place or the boat doesn't crash because every time you move it takes damage, and then the first officer launches torpedoes or all that kind of stuff. Especially when you play it in
It's
real time.
Yeah.
There is an option for turn-based.
Fuck that.
But yeah, the real time was really stressful in a good way, as you're just constantly yelling out commands, trying to listen to things, and trying to get the other guy before they get you. But it does require 8 people, but still, it's very fun if you get the chance to try it out.
So I have 2 pseudo recommendations. One of them's more of just an announcement, but I assume it's a recommendation because there's no reason that is not the kind of game that I would love. But Torment, Tides of Numenera.
Yes.
So
that's,
if you remember
Planescape?
Planescape Torment, you mentioning Baldur's Gate is what made this pop back into my head. This is out now, and it's one of those. And it's one of those classic style games that we don't see a lot in today's version of gaming that I always just glom onto when those things come out, and it's getting generally good reviews. I haven't played it personally, but if you played Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights and Planescape Torment, this is out. It's getting good reviews. You should buy it.
Yeah.
Then my other pseudo review, because the last time one of us recommended a TV show, it turned out to be garbage by the time they got to the end of a season. So the 5th and final season of Black Sails is airing. So Raylene and I have started watching it from the beginning on Hulu, and we're partway through the first season, and so far I'm really liking it. So I don't know if Black Sails turns shitty later, but as of episode 5, it's like Game of Thrones, but with pirates.
Yeah, I had thought about watching that.
Cool. So it's just playing on Hulu. It's not Showtime Hulu.
It's just on Hulu.
Or
We're just watching it on
Stars.
Hulu.
Okay.
We're just watching it on Hulu. Yeah.
Okay. I will.
And I'm enjoying it so
too.
far. Yeah.
I know it was on
It's
Stars.
good, it's
I
fun.
just didn't pick it up at all because I didn't want to get Stars. So, but yeah.
No.
Sorry.
No, I got nothing more to say, but it's on Hulu, the last season. And that's the other thing is because the last season's airing now, so it's going to be a finished thing, right? You know what I mean? So it's not some investment. We can marathon, we can watch the first 4 seasons that are on Hulu, and hopefully by then season 5 will be, watchable somewhere, and life will go on. But if you like pirates, it's got pirates.
Cool. Do you have a recommendation, Steven?
Unfortunately, no. I don't-
Okay.
What?
I mean, nothing that would be a current release.
Doesn't have to
Doesn't
be.
matter.
No?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've brought up
Steve.
3 years old RPGs. on here.
DuckTales for the Nintendo Entertainment System is really fun.
Yeah. Bionic
DuckTales for
Commandos?
Sega was
You can
fun.
talk about how excited you are for Mass Effect Andromeda.
I never played any Mass Effects.
Play 1 and 2, and then play half of 3.
I think you should play all of 3. Then you get the real feeling that everyone else felt.
I still
when they
like.
played it.
Nah, whatever.
I know there's some people who like Brian who absolutely
All
not
your
you,
decisions
Brian.
tapered down to the exact same end regardless.
Well, it wouldn't be so
It's
shitty.
a different color ending. Also, it's a terrible ending.
It wouldn't be so shitty if the choices that you made did affect like the regular gameplay. Like if Thane dies in your suicide mission, another Drell pops up that just happens to be an assassin, just for storyline. Or was it a Solarian? I can't remember.
I couldn't get through 2.
2 was the best one.
I just
You son of a bitch.
I don't know, like
I want the Max Kerr fight to happen. I
Yeah,
want
like-
this cage match.
just like the companions in Mass Effect just always kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
That's why.
Well, you're not playing right. This is with the sex and the rubbing and the.
Yeah, you gotta kill Caden.
Yeah, like
Get rid of
I
him.
think it was the point where, what's his face, the big reptile guy, the
Rex?
Krogan guy, Rex. Yeah, like we get to a part where, spoilers, you have the opportunity to kill him off. And he's like, but Shepard, we've gone through so much together. I'm like, I've literally never taken you on a mission.
But he still flies with you. I mean, you
Doesn't
still
matter.
talk
Shot
to
him in the face.
I guess that's your business. Well, that's the thing. That's your choice, and that was what you wanted. So it
Yeah,
should
it's
have made
like-
that part better for
And
you.
at the end of episode 3, it mattered that you shot him in the face because no, it didn't. None of it mattered.
I made it through 40 minutes of Mass Effect 1.
I never played any of them because they were on the Xbox.
Yeah, I think they started at, they went to Xbox, and then I really wish, I don't understand why they're not doing this. Maybe it just takes too much time or money, but if BioWare right now for $120 or $100 released 1, 2, and 3 with all of the DLC for current gen consoles, in a heartbeat I'd throw my money at it and buy it.
Yeah.
Just it seems like with Andromeda coming out, it'd be a perfect time to do it. So I just don't know why they didn't go that route. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
So this was a lot of stalling, Steve. Have you thought of a recommendation?
I mean, I guess the one board game I enjoyed playing for a while was Arcadia Quest, which is like a 2 to 4 player dungeon exploring kind of game where you're leading a guild of 3 heroes and your other opposing players have their 3 heroes. So trying to complete little quests that are given to you based on the scenario that's been selected, as well as trying to kill your opposing guild's heroes.
Rude.
Is
Yeah.
that's Ninja Division, isn't it?
Think
Was
so.
it? Well, so that's not. So there's what's the other one? Like Super Dungeon Explorer,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I think it's the same company that makes that. I think Arcadia Quest is.
Yeah, Soda. Well, it
Soda
was
Pop,
Soda
which is-
Pop, and then it changed into Ninja Division.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I guess we're done.
Yep.
All right.
Adios, bitches.